Chapter 2084. Whoosh! When Shao Chen reappeared, he was in a familiar secret realm. 1,000-year-old spirit herbs and above filled the place. In the past, anything in this treasure land could make Shao Chen's heart skip a beat. Looking around, there weren't many treasures that could tempt him. There was a saying that only elixirs that grew in the wilderness and in dangerous places could be considered as true treasures of heaven and earth. The artificially nurtured spirit herbs in the herb field would always lack spirituality, unable to reach perfection. Am I already in the Heaven Dragon Palace? Shao Chen muttered to himself as he looked at the familiar scenery, feeling somewhat surreal. 1 moment ago, he was in a small city in the desolate sea hundreds of millions of kilometers away. In the next moment, he was back in the Divine Dragon Empire. If Shao Chen could activate the Divine Universe Steel in the past, he would not have been chased into such a sorry state back then. Shao Chen could come and go as he pleased. How carefree! There did not seem to be anyone in this Heaven Dragon Palace's herb garden's secret realm. As Shao Chen strolled around, he stopped before the divine rank medicine cauldron. The small mountain-sized medicine cauldron burned endlessly with flames. It looked like the third palace master used it frequently. Shao Chen gently leaped up and arrived above the medicine cauldron. Gurgle! Gurgle! A fierce sea of flames surged endlessly in the medicine cauldron, startling Shao Chen. It seemed like someone was refining some medicinal pill in there. The sea of flames surged, but he could not see it clearly. Someone is here. Whoosh! Shao Chen saw a figure flash as he rushed to the bottom of the medicine cauldron. Then, he muttered to himself somewhat anxiously, "I'm somewhat late. I just found the last ingredient." This person seemed to be in too much of a rush, and had not expected someone to appear in the secret realm without anyone noticing. This person did not notice Shao Chen's presence. Third Palace Master, long time no see. Suddenly, the third palace master heard a voice, and his expression changed drastically. When he looked up, he saw a familiar face. Shao Chen? That's not right. How could Shao Chen return to the Divine Dragon Empire silently? Furthermore, he entered my Heaven Dragon Palace's herb garden's secret realm. Who exactly are you? Boom! A frightening aura burst forth from the third palace master. His expression was sharp as he looked at Shao Chen cautiously. When Shao Chen heard this, he was slightly stunned. Then, he realized that if he were the third hall master, he would definitely be shocked as well. He gently leaped up and landed on the ground. Then, he said softly, "Third Palace Master, there is no need to doubt that it is really me. This divine rank medicine cauldron was lent to the third hall master by me. There shouldn't be any outsiders who know about this, right?" The third palace master retreated to the side with a doubtful expression. He still did not dare to believe it completely. It was simply too unbelievable, and he found it hard to believe. If you had stolen Shao Chen's memories, you would naturally know all of this. In that case, even if I steal his memories, I should not be able to practice the Supreme Dragon Fist, right? Shao Chen did not waste any time. He immediately executed the Supreme Dragon Fist. A dragon roar rang out, and dragon might spread out. When he punched, thousands of dragon images burst out from Shao Chen's body. It's really you. Now, the third palace master finally believed it. When he first saw Shao Chen, he already felt that it was Shao Chen. However, it did not make sense, so the third palace master had to be cautious. Now that Shao Chen mentioned the medicine cauldron's origins and executed the Supreme Dragon Fist, there was no doubt about his identity. How did you get in? The third palace master still felt suspicious. Given Shao Chen's strength, he could not have sneaked in without anyone noticing. This place was the Heaven Dragon Palace, the most tightly guarded secret realm. Even a divine Vane Realm sovereign emperor could not enter without anyone noticing. Shao Chen smiled faintly and said, "Third Palace Master, don't worry. I used a special secret technique to enter. Aside from me, no one else can do so, When the third palace master heard that, he relaxed significantly. He thought that something had gone wrong with the defense. Since that was the case, he did not pursue the matter. The third palace master revealed a smile and said, "It has been almost 6 years since we parted, right? You are already a small perfection sovereign personage. This is truly shocking. Even if you entered Ancestor Dragon City, you might not have such a cultivation. It is Ancestor Dragon City's loss that they did not want you." The third palace master felt shocked at Xiao Chen's change. He felt very grateful in his heart. Xiao Chen could feel the joy and happiness in the third palace master's heart. The third palace master truly missed him. This was also why Xiao Chen could activate the Divine Universe Steel. The first thing that came to Xiao Chen's mind was to meet the third palace master. "I'll go and tell second brother. He is a very busy person right now. However, he will definitely be very happy to know that you are here." Xiao Chen quickly stopped the third palace master. "Next time. I am already very satisfied with seeing the third palace master." The third palace master said, "Very well. Tell me what you experienced in the past few years." Xiao Chen did not rush to answer. Instead, he asked softly, "I want to know how the first palace master is doing now." The Blood Dragon Guard's Vice Hall Master Li only knew that the first palace master was imprisoned. However, he did not tell Xiao Chen anything more. "First brother is doing very well. You don't have to worry. To him, 100 years will pass in the blink of an eye," the third palace master said with a somewhat sad expression when he mentioned the first palace master. When Xiao Chen heard that, he relaxed slightly. Back then, if not for the first palace master, the sovereign emperor elders of Ancestor Dragon City would have smacked him to death with one palm strike. After not seeing each other for a long time, Xiao Chen and the third palace master chatted happily. Occasionally, the two mentioned the past, and many memories appeared. The Heaven Dragon Palace was the only place in the Great Thousand Realms that gave Xiao Chen a sense of home. Xiao Chen would never forget many of the things he experienced there. When he thought about them, they felt like they happened just yesterday. If possible, Xiao Chen did not want to leave the Divine Dragon Empire. No matter where he was, the dragon race's bloodline flowed in his veins. "What is the Divine Dragon Crown Prince Qin Mu's cultivation now?" Xiao Chen asked. The third palace master replied after some thought. "He was already a great perfection sovereign personage 2 years ago. He has the Purple Gold Dragon Emperor's personal guidance, and the Golden Dragon Bloodline's boundless resources for his cultivation. No matter what secret technique or cultivation technique he cultivates, he has a corresponding senior expert to guide him. Furthermore, his talent and bloodline are excellent. Such a person is naturally stronger than ordinary people. However, there is one thing that he cannot compare to you. His mental state is not as strong as yours. Now that he is a great perfection sovereign personage, he needs to stabilize his comprehension. Mental state cultivation is very important." Mental state cultivation was very important. However, it was not as strong as the third palace master made it out to be. He was mostly consoling himself. Xiao Chen smiled faintly but did not say anything. If Xiao Chen brought out all his trump cards, even a peak sovereign personage might not be able to defeat him. The Divine Dragon Crown Prince did not fear him at all. "Do I still have a chance to come back?" Xiao Chen asked. When the third palace master heard that, his expression turned somewhat grave. He sighed softly. "Actually, you did not do anything wrong. You can come back at any time. However, the Golden Dragon bloodline fears you. 6 years ago, you used the Supreme Dragon Fist to defeat the Emperor Dragon Fist, scaring many of the Golden Dragon bloodline's seniors out of closed-door cultivation. If you can advance to the Divine Vein Realm, you can come back at any time. According to Ancestor Dragon City's rules, as long as you become a sovereign emperor and are willing to serve the empire, any crimes will be forgiven." At that time, even if the Golden Dragon bloodline wants to make things difficult for you, they will not dare to do anything to you openly. The value of a divine Vane Realm's sovereign emperor went without saying. If Ancestor Dragon City could gain the service of a sovereign emperor, they would definitely not pursue Shao Chen's past. On the contrary, they would even reward Shao Chen and rope him in. This was a world where the strong reigned. Most of the time, there was no need to talk too much about reason. Shao Chen smiled bitterly when he heard that. So, that is the case. If they felt that I could advance to Sovereign Emperor, Ancestor Dragon City would not have made things difficult for me because of my strange bloodline back then, right? The third palace master remained silent. The answer went without saying. Strength represented everything. The first palace master offended his superiors and caused chaos in the Dragon City. This was a much more severe mistake than Shao Chen's. However, the first palace master only imprisoned Shao Chen for 100 years because of the first palace master's strength. Ancestor Dragon City did not want to lose a peak expert like the first palace master. Naturally, they would not truly make things difficult for the first palace master. The third palace master took a sip of wine and said indifferently, "If you can advance to Sovereign Emperor before 100 years old, I believe that the powerhouses of Ancestor Dragon City will personally apologize to you. Even the Purple Gold Dragon Emperor cannot do whatever he wants in the Divine Dragon Empire." I understand now. Shao Chen showed a grave expression, not saying anything more. Most of the time, the principle was this simple: the strong reigned. Chapter 2085. After seeing the third palace master and learning that the first palace master was fine, Shao Chen asked about the situation of his friends in the Heaven Dragon Palace. He discovered that most of them had entered Ancestor Dragon City and were doing well. The Red Dragon Palace's Murong Yen, the Blue Dragon Palace's Situ Changfeng, and the Golden Dragon Palace's Wei Hongfei missed those times. Everyone had gone to the abyssal underworld to complete the sex missions and went on experiential training in the ancient city. They had relied on each other and lived and died together. Since everyone was doing well, Shao Chen felt at ease. "Third Palace Master, if there is an opportunity, please help me tell them that I am doing well as well." "Right, you are leaving, right?" The third palace master felt curious about how Shao Chen would leave. This herb garden secret realm was heavily guarded with tight formations. How could Shao Chen enter silently? "I'm leaving. If I have time in the future, I will come back. I hope that you don't come often. If you have any other thoughts, I won't even know that you have emptied out this distant secret realm," the third palace master teased. "Haha, that reminds me." Shao Chen smiled happily and performed a cupped fist salute in farewell. Then, he vanished into thin air, leaving only the divine universe steel hovering in the air. "This is..." The third palace master's eyes lit up. "A spatial treasure that can hide living people. Is this an inherited Dao tool or a soul tool? How high would a secret treasure that could hide people be?" More importantly, the third palace master had never heard of a secret treasure that could hide ordinary people. Whoosh! Before the third palace master's shocked eyes, the divine universe steel vanished silently. The third palace master spread out his soul energy. Aside from him, there was no one else in the entire secret realm. The somewhat incredulous third palace master circulated his divine energy to check the surroundings, thoroughly searching the entire secret realm. The third palace master had to believe that Shao Chen really left. This little fellow has some fortuitous encounters. After the shock, the third palace master revealed a smile and sighed. Unfortunately, he did not enter Ancestor Dragon City. It is too difficult for a loose cultivator to grow. In the next moment, the divine universe steel appeared in the desolate sea's azure mountain town. When Shao Chen came out and saw the divine universe steel, he felt it was miraculous. This was truly shocking. Not to mention the third palace master, even Shao Chen felt like he was in a dream. Shao Chun simply did not dare to imagine that he could return to the Divine Dragon Empire with a thought, no matter where he was. Even a Divine Vein Realm Sovereign Emperor would not be able to do that. At the very least, the third Palace Master, a Divine Vein Realm Sovereign Emperor, was shocked. However, after this round trip, he lost 1,000,000 primeval heavenly pills, which made Shao Chen's heart ache. After all, the Xuewu dynasty's 8th prince only had 5,000,000 primeval heavenly pills. After conversing with the third palace master, Shao Chen deeply felt the importance of strength. Sovereign Emperor, Sovereign Emperor. If one did not advance to Sovereign Emperor, one would not have the right to speak. A sovereign personage was already considered an expert. If Shao Chen was content with the current situation and went to an outer region, he would not be able to defeat a sovereign personage. For example, in the Grave Sea Cluster, one could live a very good life. They were respected and aloof, able to decide the life and death of others with a single thought. However, Shao Chen could not do so. His vision could not stop at sovereign personage. Even Sovereign Emperor was not the limit. Compared to the Divine Dragon Crown Prince and the others, Shao Chen's weakness was too obvious. How hateful! Shao Chen hated how he was chased out of the Divine Dragon Empire, unable to enter Ancestor Dragon City. Otherwise, he would not have ended up like this. If there is a chance, I have to ask the Peach Blossom Sovereign Emperor for advice. The other party is someone comparable to the Purple Gold Dragon Emperor. Shao Chen thought, since I cannot figure out what to do in the future by myself, I have to ask an expert. Shao Chen did not know where to go in the vast desolate sea. He did not know where to go for experiential training, where to improve his saber skills, and where to make up for the flaws in his saber Dao. Where to find resources to continue improving his universe origin True Flame and Heavenly Snow Divine Flame. The Peach Blossom Sovereign Emperor's vision was much broader than Shao Chen's. He was someone who stood at the top of the pyramid of the martial epoch. If Shao Chen did not ask the Peach Blossom Sovereign Emperor for advice, it would be inexcusable. Feeling the pressure and urgency, Shao Chen did not hesitate. That night, he wrote a letter for the Demon Blood Vulture to deliver to Peach Blossom City's Senior Chui. Half a month later, Shao Chen received a reply from Senior Chui. There were only 4 words: "Come over quickly." Upon receiving this reply, Shao Chen revealed a smile. It looked like he should not have any problems meeting the Peach Blossom Sovereign Emperor. After getting some fine wine from Grandpa Seven's residence, Shao Chen went outside the city to say goodbye to Sang. Sang was still taking care of the propping mulberry tree by the ancient well. He glanced at Shao Chen and said, "I have a feeling that after you leave, we will not be able to meet for a long time. However, I will always be in Azure Mountain Town. As long as you come back, you will be able to find me. Tell me, what resources does the propping mulberry tree need? The next time we meet, I will definitely bring them back for you." Sang smiled faintly and said softly, "Thank you. Go on then. We will meet again in the future." With a gentle leap, Shao Chen soared into the air. A beam of red light descended from the sky and happened to catch Shao Chen. It was the Demon Blood Vulture. Sang looked at Shao Chen, who was far away in the sky, and then at the 10-meter-tall propping mulberry tree beside him. Then, he said softly, "I wonder, between you and it, who will grow faster? The next time we meet, you will be a sovereign emperor, right?" The Demon Blood Vulture traveled day and night. 7 days later, a familiar scene appeared before Shao Chen's eyes. 500 kilometers of peach blossom forest hid green mountains and beautiful rivers in the middle of the wilderness, looking like a painting. This was Peach Blossom City. With the Demon Blood Vulture rushing over, not to mention being fast, Shao Chen did not look travel-stained at all when he landed. Shao Chen saw Senior Chui, who stopped at the same place. The peach blossoms on both sides of the river turned red every year. No old friends came with the wind. After 30 years of searching for an old dream, there was only a cup of wine in a golden goblet. Senior Chui had not changed. The boat stopped at the riverside, and no one dared to approach. Xiao Qin boarded the small boat and said softly, "Senior Chui, it's time to set sail. Same old rules. Don't set sail without wine. Satisfy me first." Xiao Qin smiled faintly and tossed over a jar of setting sundae. Senior Chui caught it and drank to his heart's content, crying out in delight. After Senior Chui drank to his heart's content, he looked at Xiao Qin and scolded jokingly, "Brat, who knows where you went for the past 4 years? You finally returned after so much difficulty, yet you only thought of coming to Peach Blossom City to meet me now." Xiao Qin said helplessly, "Something happened and delayed me." Then, Xiao Qin told Senior Chui about the Xuewu dynasty's 8th prince. There was such a thing? The Xuewu dynasty's prince went to Azure Mountain Town? This is somewhat strange. Although the righteous Dao and demonic Dao factions are relatively peaceful, if they get an opportunity, they will try to kill. The 8th prince should not dare to come. This is rather inconceivable. The one you met might not be his true body, Senior Chui said, feeling somewhat suspicious after hearing that. Old Chui asked doubtfully after hearing that. Not his true body? When Xiao Qin heard that, he entered deep thought. Based on Senior Chui's words, it did seem somewhat suspicious. Back then, when that 8th prince heard that Xiao Qin wanted to extort 5 million primeval heavenly pills from him, he directly told Xiao Qin to kill him. In the end, that divine Vein Realm's sovereign emperor took out 5 million primeval heavenly pills out of fear of the heavenly fragrance Holy Land's supreme elder before settling things. Senior Chui said, "In my impression, the Xuewu dynasty's royal court disciples are all terrifyingly strong. There are practically no weaklings among them. Of course, that is just a guess. It is also possible that this 8th prince is indeed not a powerful character. His demonic monarch bloodline is thin, so he does not receive much attention, which is why he dares to enter the desolate sea." Are the righteous Dao and demonic Dao really as incompatible as Senior says? Xiao Qin asked, finding this strange. Xiao Qin recalled that the righteous Dao and demonic Dao factions did not have much conflict in Peach Blossom City previously. Furthermore, after Xiao Qin wiped out the Heavenly Slaughter Sect branch's stronghold, a group of righteous Dao disciples viewed him as an enemy. As Senior Chui rowed the boat, he said, "This happened 100,000 years ago. The righteous Dao and demonic Dao factions fought until the sky turned dark, even destroying the heavenly realm. Do you think this grudge can be resolved? You practically never left Azure Mountain Town in the desolate sea, right? What you can see is just the surface. The undercurrents are surging, and it's more tragic than you can imagine." When Xiao Qin heard that, he entered deep thought. Indeed, he had never left Azure Mountain Town and did not understand much about the righteous Dao and demonic Dao factions in the desolate sea. "We've arrived. When the Peach Blossom Sovereign Emperor heard that you were coming, he was rather happy," Senior Chui said with a smile as the boat entered the city. Old Chui chuckled as the boat sailed into the city. Clearly, he was in a good mood. Xiao Qin followed Senior Chui to the city lord's residence. Even after so many years, Peach Blossom City had not changed much. The place still had a rich wine fragrance. Taverns stood in great numbers and the place was bustling. Chapter 2086. The place was as lively as before. However, Xiao Qin felt that Peach Blossom City was somewhat different. As he walked, the city lord's residence came into view in the distance. Finally, Xiao Qin knew what was different. The current Peach Blossom City was not like it was during the Peach Blossom Wine Festival. Everyone from the righteous Dao and demonic Dao gathered here. All sorts of scheming people came, creating chaos amid the liveliness. Without the ostentation and chaos, Peach Blossom City was actually a quiet and reserved city. Aside from the fine wine, Xiao Qin had some other things. The martial spirit of Peach Blossom City was very common. Experts clashed everywhere. Several of the cultivators even made Xiao Qin's eyes light up, making him stop and watch for a long time. These are the cultivators under the city lord. What do you think? You like them, right? Old Shui asked with a smile as he stood beside Xiao Qin. Xiao Qin replied softly, Old Shui is being too humble. The quality and strength of these cultivators already rival that of rank 7 sect disciples. Some of them are even comparable to the inner sect disciples of rank 7 sections. Peach Blossom City is truly shocking. Did the city lord specially nurture them? Old Shui smiled and said, Of course, the city lord alone cannot deter the other factions from occupying such a treasured land in the desolate sea. Furthermore, the city lord will eventually reach the end of his lifespan. He has to make plans for the future of Peach Blossom City. However, the city lord did not specially seek out these people. Most of them came because of the fame. The city lord does not accept just anyone. The two chatted as they walked. After entering the city lord's residence, Old Shui led Xiao Qin to a quiet pavilion in the city lord's residence. Go in, then. The city lord has been waiting for a long time. Xiao Qin pushed open the door and entered. There was no one on the first floor or the second floor. When he reached the top floor, he saw the Peach Blossom Sovereign Emperor drinking by himself. Greetings, Senior. Xiao Qin performed a cupped fist salute. The Peach Blossom Sovereign Emperor put down his wine cup and looked at Xiao Qin. A trace of doubt flashed in his deep, star-like eyes. His eyes saw the hazy shadow of a dragon behind Xiao Qin. When he tried to see it clearly, he discovered that the dragon was extremely ethereal. He was actually unable to capture it. Just as the Peach Blossom Sovereign Emperor was about to forcefully capture it, a pair of dragon eyes suddenly appeared and glared at him, making his heart tremble. What a powerful dragon might! Just what kind of bloodline is that? I can't even see it clearly. However, it was certain that he had grasped the profound meaning of the Heaven Dragon. The power hidden in the dragon's shadow was much stronger than 4 years ago, almost to the point of materializing. Interesting. The Peach Blossom Sovereign Emperor's expression did not change. He smiled faintly and said, Little friend, you really astonish me. Now that I haven't seen him for 4 years, even I can't look at his dragon might directly. Earlier, Xiao Qin vaguely sensed that his dragon might clashed with the Peach Blossom Sovereign Emperor. However, he did not control it. Instead, it was the blue dragon's own majesty that had spontaneously formed a counterattack after being spied on. City Lord is too polite. The Peach Blossom Sovereign Emperor did not pursue the matter. He directly said, Old Shui already told me why you are here. Your thoughts are pretty good. You did not become blindly arrogant just because you obtained a fortuitous encounter. After all, loose cultivators are loose cultivators. Without anyone to guide them, they will either walk the demonic Tao or remain stagnant, finding it hard to advance. After advancing to Sovereign Emperor, the resources they require will be astronomical. Without a super faction supporting them, they will not be able to sustain themselves. After some thought, Xiao Qin asked, So, Senior's meaning is? Join the Heavenly Alliance. You are not my disciple, and we are not master and disciple. I have no obligation to guide you. In reality, I rarely give personal guidance even to the people of Peach Blossom City. After advancing to Sovereign Emperor, I will not do meaningless things. The Peach Blossom Sovereign Emperor spoke slowly as he looked at Xiao Qin, sounding extremely distant. The Peach Blossom Sovereign Emperor was clearly right before Xiao Qin, but he felt like an ocean separated the two. The Heavenly Alliance? Xiao Qin had heard of the Heavenly Alliance before. This was a faction formed by the peak merchant associations of the Great Thousand Realms. Aside from this, there were many Grandmaster-level alchemists and blacksmiths, mysterious and strong. Ordinary people would find it very difficult to come into contact with the core existences of the Heavenly Alliance. That's right. The Heavenly Alliance. You should have heard of it before. Yes, I have. A Heavenly Alliance blacksmith helped me forge the saber in my hand. The Peach Blossom's sovereign emperor sighed softly. Oh, I did not expect to come into contact with it. Don't ask me. Let me ask you first. What kind of faction do you think is considered a superfaction? Xiao Chun thought for a while before replying. In the northern region, the Divine Dragon Empire, the White Marsh Beast Empire, and the Heavenly Lodging Palace should be considered superfactions. The 6 great demonic Dao sects and the 4 dynasties, rank 7 sects should be considered superfactions. Xiao Chun had experienced the strength of the Divine Dragon Empire for himself. Just the Heaven Dragon's outer palace gave Xiao Chun the impression that it was a colossus. Furthermore, there were 6 even stronger outer palaces and Ancestor Dragon City with incredibly deep accumulations. If such factions were not considered superfactions, then there would be no superfactions. That's right. In your eyes, rank 7 sects and the 4 dynasties can be considered superfactions. However, in the eyes of sovereign emperors, aside from the heavenly incense, there are only 8 truly superfactions in the martial epic's great thousand realms. The Pirate Alliance, the Heavenly Alliance, the Universe Origin sect that controls the Tianwu dynasty, the Hidden Spirit Temple that controls the Yanwu dynasty, the Profound Heaven Holy Land that controls the Shenwu dynasty, the Bushan Palace that controls the 8 great empires, the Demonic Dao Hall that controls the Xuewu dynasty, and the Abyssal Underworld's Underworld God Hall. The Peach Blossom's sovereign emperor spoke tirelessly, revealing many secrets that Xiao Chun did not know. Since the birth of the martial epoch, the power structure has changed many times. After every great war between the righteous factions and demonic factions, there would be a reshuffle. After the previous great war between the righteous factions and demonic factions, these 8 superfactions now jointly manage the martial epoch. The Peach Blossom's sovereign emperor looked at Xiao Chun and asked, "Do you know why I'm telling you all this?" Xiao Chun did not understand. "I want to broaden your horizons. I once told you that there is an existence behind the purple gold dragon emperor that you cannot offend. Actually, that is the Bushan Palace, the most ancient and mysterious existence among the 8 superfactions." The Peach Blossom's sovereign emperor's words deeply shocked Xiao Chun. This indeed surpassed his imagination. He found it hard to imagine that a rank 7 sect had such a terrifying faction behind it. What surprised Xiao Chun even more was that the Bushan Palace existed in this world as well. He wondered if the Kunlun realm's Bushan Palace was related to the Bushan Palace of this great thousand realms. Before the 8 superforces, all the rank 7 sects are insignificant existences that can't even withstand a single blow. As a matter of fact, all the grade 6 and grade 7 sects that you can see are inextricably linked to the various superforces. The Peach Blossom's sovereign emperor paused for a while before continuing. For example, the Heavenly Alliance is behind Peach Blossom City. I can be so free and unfettered, occupying one of the rare treasured lands in the desolate sea, aside from my own strength, mostly because of the Heavenly Alliance. Shocking news came one after another. By now, Xiao Chun was somewhat numb to it. He asked softly, "So City Lord is suggesting that I join the Heavenly Alliance?" The Peach Blossom's sovereign emperor poured himself a cup of wine and smiled faintly. "Don't be so certain. It is still uncertain whether you can join the Heavenly Alliance or not. Naturally, the superfactions will only take in the most talented and valuable cultivators of the martial epoch. You are very strong and your bloodline and comprehension ability are pretty good. However, do you know how vast the martial epoch is? Just the central great realm alone already has as many geniuses as there are stars in the sky, not to mention the other astral regions. Although the outer regions do not have as much spiritual energy as the central great realm, they have many cultivators, at least 1,000,000 times more than the central great realm. As far as I know, you came to where you are now step by step from the outer regions. Can you guarantee that there will not be a second you in the outer regions? The answer is certain. There will definitely be people comparable to you in the outer regions. Due to the sheer number of them, even in a remote and desolate astral region, there will still be powerful outstanding talents. The Peach Blossom Sovereign Emperor's words made Shao Qin enter deep thought. The Peach Blossom Sovereign Emperor's words indeed made sense. The main reason I want you to join the Heavenly Alliance is that, compared to the other superfactions, the Heavenly Alliance is a merchant association, after all. Compared to the disciples of the other superfactions, the members of the Heavenly Alliance do not have as many restrictions and can choose to withdraw at any time. For example, right now I have practically no connection to the Heavenly Alliance. Unless I need it, I will not go to the Heavenly Alliance's headquarters. The Peach Blossom Sovereign Emperor took a sip of wine and continued, the Heavenly Alliance's requirements for cultivators are not as strict as the other factions. For example, as long as I recommend you, you will qualify to participate in the Heavenly Alliance's selection. However, it will not be so easy for the other superfactions. Of course, the most important reason why I want you to join the Heavenly Alliance is that I have not recommended anyone to join the Heavenly Alliance for many years already. Although I do not have a deep connection to the Heavenly Alliance, this is still a very embarrassing matter for me. I hope that you can help me gain face. After speaking for so long, it turned out that the last sentence was the main point. Shao Qin smiled bitterly in his heart. The Peach Blossom Sovereign Emperor really went around in circles. However, without going around in circles, it would be hard for Shao Qin to gain a general understanding of the superfactions. Chapter 2087. What do you think? The Peach Blossom Sovereign Emperor asked as he looked at Shao Qin. Shao Qin remained silent. This was somewhat different from what he had expected. Shao Qin had come here to ask the Peach Blossom Sovereign Emperor some questions about the martial Tao. Who could have imagined that the other party would recommend him to join a superfaction? Naturally, superpowers were extremely tempting to Shao Qin. The Peach Blossom Sovereign Emperor's words opened a door to a new world for Shao Qin. Previously, he had not expected such a strong superfaction to exist in the world. Seeing that Shao Qin did not say anything, the Peach Blossom Sovereign Emperor continued, as long as you enter a superfaction, you will be able to experience the true charm of the martial epoch. Everything you've experienced before is just child's play in front of a true powerhouse. If you can't join a superpower, you'll never be able to come into contact with the core stage of this world. It'll be a pity for a genius like you. If you had not been chased out of the Divine Dragon Empire, you would have entered Bushan Palace through Ancestor Dragon City. However, now, aside from the Heavenly Alliance, the other superfactions should not accept you. The Peach Blossom Sovereign Emperor's words dispelled Shao Qin's final hesitation. He said seriously, I'm willing. When the Peach Blossom Sovereign Emperor saw Shao Qin agree, he revealed a smile and put down his wine cup. Good. You will be my disciple 7 days from now and head to Desolate City with me. Desolate City? You probably don't know that the force behind Desolate City is the Heaven Alliance, right? At that time, many rank 6 or even rank 7 factions in the Desolate Sea will send their disciples to participate in the test. There will also be many loose cultivators who will not miss out on this opportunity. The Peach Blossom Sovereign Emperor said softly, surprising Shao Qin again. It turned out that the Heavenly Alliance was behind Desolate City. Shao Qin entered deep thought. No wonder the Peach Blossom Sovereign Emperor said that he might not be able to pass the test. Just the Desolate Sea alone had so many challenges. The central Great Realm's eastern, western, northern, and southern regions, as well as the 3 dynasties, would definitely have gathering spots like Desolate City to attract cultivators to take the test. Not everyone can participate in the assessment, right? There had to be a threshold for the assessment. Otherwise, the number of participants would be unimaginable. The Peach Blossom Sovereign Emperor nodded and said, anyone under 500 years old and a sovereign personage can participate in the Heavenly Alliance's test. Even if you do not pass the test, As long as you have a certain level of performance, you will receive rewards from the Heavenly Alliance. At that time, there will probably be hundreds of thousands of cultivators taking the test. A few 100,000. When Xiao Chen heard this, he was shocked. This number really shocked him. It was a little too much. The Peach Blossom Sovereign Emperor asked with a calm expression, "Are you very shocked?" Actually, there was nothing to be surprised about. Of the 8 super factions, the Heavenly Alliance was considered one of the weakest. However, the Desolate Sea's influence covered the entire Great Thousand Realms. There was a Desolate Sea stronghold in every astral cluster. Just like the Grave Sea cluster that you once stayed in, the Profound Light Temple is the base of the Hidden Spirit Temple, a superfaction. The Purple Flame Sect is the territory of the Tianwu dynasty's universe origin sect. There are a total of 3,000 high-ranked astral domains like the Grave Sea cluster in the Great Thousand Realms. This does not include some of the more chaotic astral domains. If you include them, there will be even more. Do you still think a few 100,000 is a lot? Not a lot. However, the threshold seems somewhat low. All sovereign personages under 500 years old can take the test? The Peach Blossom Sovereign Emperor said. In the martial epoch, normally speaking, those who can break through to sovereign personage after 500 years old will not be able to advance to Divine Vein Realm Sovereign Emperor. Those who advance to sovereign personage before 500 years old have the possibility of becoming Divine Vein Realm Sovereign Emperors. As long as one has the potential to become a Sovereign Emperor, the Heavenly Alliance will not let them off. The core force of the various superfactions are the Sovereign Emperors. One Sovereign Emperor is worth more than 100,000 sovereign personages. Divine Vein Realm Sovereign Emperor. Another Divine Vein Realm Sovereign Emperor. Xiao Chen clenched his right fist tightly, and his blood surged somewhat. He recalled what the Third Palace Master said, which coincided with the Peach Blossom Sovereign Emperors. As long as Xiao Chen became a Sovereign Emperor, even the Purple Gold Dragon Emperor in the Divine Dragon Empire would not be able to pursue the matter. Ancestor Dragon City would even personally apologize to him. Furthermore, there has never been a lack of outstanding talents in the Great Thousand Realms. However, facts have proven that those who can become Divine Vein Realm Sovereign Emperors are mostly unknown existences. Many people only advance to sovereign personage at 200, 300, or even 400 years old. They continuously stabilized themselves, comprehended the great Tao of the world, and tempered their mental state. In the end, they easily advanced to Sovereign Emperor. Many powerful outstanding talents who advanced to sovereign personage before 100 years old either incurred the jealousy of others or died prematurely. Otherwise, they were too conceited and became a burden on themselves. If their mental state was not strong enough, they would never be able to advance. The Peach Blossom Sovereign Emperor looked at Xiao Chen sternly. Hence, do not underestimate those late bloomers, able to maintain their composure in the sovereign personage realm. I said that you might not be able to pass the test this time, because if you run into those people who have been sovereign personages for more than 100 years, you might not be a match for them. Xiao Chen nodded to indicate his understanding. However, he felt somewhat doubtful. Finding it strange, he asked, "Does that mean that the super factions do not pay attention to outstanding talents? After all, most of those who become sovereign emperors are unknown existences?" The Peach Blossom Sovereign Emperor could not help laughing. You can put it that way. However, if you can show that you have the potential to become a sovereign emperor, the effect will be different. This is because only the outstanding talents with astonishing talent and comprehension ability can advance to Foe God after advancing to Sovereign Emperor. This is something far away from you for now. Just treat what I said as an eye-opener. Don't overthink it. Make your preparations. Come with me to Desolate City 7 days from now. Remember to adjust your mental state. All right. After leaving the pavilion, Xiao Chen looked at the blazing sun in the sky. This conversation nearly toppled Xiao Chen's entire worldview. The Peach Blossom Sovereign Emperor said not to overthink, but Xiao Chen still felt his hot-bloodedness surge, feeling excited. "Xiao Chen, how is it?" Old Shui asked softly as he arrived beside Xiao Chen. Xiao Chen recovered his wits and replied softly, "I already promised the City Lord that I would be his follower and participate in the Heavenly Alliance's test 7 days from now." Old Shui smiled and said, "I knew that you would agree. Come, I'll bring you to the residence." There were many residences prepared for guests in Peach Blossom City, comparable to the residence of a sect. After Xiao Chen checked in, he started meditating and adjusting his mental state. The night passed. When the morning sun rose again, Xiao Chen felt much calmer. He was no longer as excited as before. Absolute calmness replaced it. Xiao Chen started to think about how to raise his strength to ensure that he could pass the Heavenly Alliance's test. He had already merged the first 3 moves of the Mahamaya Abstinence Violation Saber technique, resolving the mundane and entering hell. He needed to bring forward the next 3 moves, in the mortal realm, 3 Life Flower and Merciless Killing. The Heavenly Snow Divine Flame and the Universe Origin True Flame had just advanced to rank 5. He would not be able to find enough flame shards to nurture them in a short time. Xiao Chen wanted to see if he could use the Heavenly Alliance to exchange for similar flame resources when he entered the Heavenly Alliance. He had already cultivated the Purple Thunder Divine Incantation to the 10th layer. The next 2 layers were progressively more difficult than the one before. For now, he could not see any hope of breaking through. He had already cultivated the Demonic Cloud Heaven Swallowing Art to the 2nd layer. Unfortunately, he did not have much room to execute it. He had just gotten familiar with the state of cycle and needed to continue familiarizing himself with it. This was Xiao Chen's greatest trump card, so he could not relax. After thinking about it, the only things that could raise his strength in the short term were the 10,000 Dragons art and the 10,000 Dragons picture in his mind. Ever since he copied the 10,000 Dragons picture, Xiao Chen had not truly studied it. However, the 10,000 Dragons picture had strengthened the might of the Supreme Dragon Fist significantly. "Brother Xiao, are you free?" The Peach Blossom Sovereign Emperor's disciples, Yun Fei and Lei Hao, are here to seek an audience. Just at this moment, 2 voices requesting an audience came from outside the door. Since they were the Peach Blossom Sovereign Emperor's disciples, Xiao Chen had to meet them. It was possible that these 2 people would head to Desolate City with him. Xiao Chen's figure flashed, and he opened the door to receive the guests. There were 2 people standing outside the door. One of them had an ordinary appearance and was dressed in white, looking very simple. The other person was tall and stocky. He did not show any expression, but he gave off a strong sense of pressure. The plain-looking white-clad youth performed a cupped fist salute and said, "I am Yun Fei. This is Lei Hao. Master sent us over to familiarize ourselves with Brother Xiao. This way, please." Indeed, as they chatted, Xiao Chen learned that these 2 would be heading to Desolate City with Xiao Chen to participate in the test. Aside from them, dozens of the Peach Blossom Sovereign Emperor's disciples would be going as well. However, most of these people were just there to make up the numbers, to see the experts outside. The chances of them passing the test were not high. The ones that the Peach Blossom Sovereign Emperor truly held hope in were Yun Fei and Lei Hao. Of course, there was now the addition of Xiao Chen. Chapter 2088. For the Peach Blossom Sovereign Emperor to choose them, they definitely had something extraordinary about them. After inviting Yun Fei and Lei Hao in, Xiao Chen chatted with the 2. He learned that while the 2 did not look old, they were already over 100 years old. This somewhat shocked Xiao Chen. "Little brother Xiao Chen, why are you so shocked? We are the ones who should be shocked. It is very normal for a sovereign personage to reach 100 or 200 years old. Not everyone can compare to the outstanding talents of the sections. There are many ordinary people in this world. Of course, for us to advance to sovereign personage before 500 years old means that we are already extraordinary. Yun Fei smiled faintly when he saw Xiao Chen's expression. That made sense. Compared to a sovereign personage's long lifespan, 100 or 200 years was not even a tenth of that. They could be considered young. The big Lei Hao seemed somewhat inarticulate. He only listened to the two talk, not speaking much. After familiarizing themselves with each other, Xiao Chen discovered that the two had pretty good temperaments and were easygoing. The three chatted with each other and got along well. The unfamiliarity immediately disappeared. Even Lei Hao started to talk more, changing Xiao Chen's impression of him. Compared to the sect disciples, factions like Peach Blossom City did not seem to have much internal strife. The sect disciples were chosen in batches and eliminated at the very end. This was a meritocracy. The competition between the sects was intense. Most of them would hold back. After all, Peach Blossom City was not a sect. The Peach Blossom Sovereign Emperor did not seem to like that, either. His two disciples were the same. Yun Fei said softly, "I am skilled in the sword Dao. Now I only cultivate one sword technique, the 13-wind controlling sword." Xiao Chen found this strange. Only one sword technique? Secret techniques and killing moves? You don't cultivate them? The group started chatting about the martial techniques they cultivated. When Yun Fei mentioned himself, Xiao Chen felt shocked again. Yun Fei nodded and said, "I cultivated them in the past. However, after I obtained the 13-wind controlling swords, I forgot about them. I only cultivated the 13-wind controlling sword. Unfortunately, I am not talented enough. After 100 years, I only managed to reach the 7th sword." Lei Hao's lips curled up as he said, "If you are stupid, then there are no smart people in the world. Even Master praised you. Even after comprehending the 13-wind controlling swords for hundreds of years, he could not comprehend it. It's already unprecedented for you to be able to successfully cultivate it and even reach the 8th sword." Yun Fei smiled. He didn't say anything else. However, Xiao Chen thought to himself, a sword technique that can make a sovereign personage forget all other martial techniques must be very powerful. Lei Hao continued, "I'm proficient in fist techniques and have grasped the great Tao of thunder. I also cultivate my physical body and have already condensed a thunder battle body." Xiao Chen's eyes lit up. If this Lei Hao was proficient in saber techniques, he would be a carbon copy of himself. "Brother Xiao Chen, what are you good at?" Xiao Chen thought for a while before replying, "I am skilled in the saber Tao and have grasped two other great Tao energies, thunder and ice. I also cultivate fist technique. As for my physical body's vital qi, a casual strike can achieve 200 cauldron force." Yun Fei and Lei Hao were speechless. They exchanged glances with each other and smiled bitterly. No wonder Master let you participate in the test at such a young age. 3 great Tao, the force of 1 punch, and 200 cauldron force. TSK, a regular great perfection sovereign personage would not be a match for you," Yun Fei said as he looked at Xiao Chen. "It's all right," Xiao Chen replied modestly. However, he did not show much emotion, as Yun Fei and Lei Hao both gave him a very strong feeling. These two were not ordinary great perfection sovereign personages. Furthermore, they were over 100 years old and their cultivations were incredibly deep. "Brother Yun, I'm very curious about your 13-wind controlling swords. Would you be willing to give me some pointers?" Xiao Chen asked as he looked at Yun Fei. He was truly curious about the charm of the 13-wind controlling swords. It could make Yun Fei forget everything he learned in the past and focus only on this one sword technique. "No problem," Yun Fei agreed readily. The three arrived at the drill ground of the residence, and Xiao Chen and Yun Fei landed there. After bowing, the two moved back 100 meters and cautiously looked at each other. "Xiao Chen, you need to see Yun Fei's first move. If you cannot, you might lose in 2 moves at most." Lei Hao, who was at the side, reminded Xiao Chen. So horrifying? Upon hearing that, Xiao Chun could not help but focus. His veritable essence energy surged in his entire body, and his great Tao energy stored up, waiting to be unleashed. Unlike Xiao Chun, who held his saber in his left hand, Yunfei carried his sword on his back. It was a simple blue sword. Xiao Chun could sense that aside from the sword Tao, Yunfei also excelled in the wind Tao. A sword technique should focus on speed, causing one to lose their life before they could see it clearly. Brother Xiao, I'm going to make my move. Yunfei smiled faintly. Right after he spoke, a sword appeared in his hand. Xiao Chun did not manage to see how the sword came out of its scabbard. The sword was 1 meter long and looked very plain. When Xiao Chun saw the blade clearly, he heard a melodious sword hum. In the next moment, a boundless sword intent erupted from the sword. A terrifying sword move instantly surged over. A cold light flashed in Xiao Chen's eyes as Yunfei's sword arrived before him. Fast. This is simply too fast. Xiao Chen did not see how Yunfei's sword arrived before him at all. At the crucial moment, Xiao Chen drew his saber, and his aura erupted. Dragon roars rang out, and 3 kinds of Tao might layered on his body. In an instant, Xiao Chen's suppressed aura soared to its peak. However, Yunfei's sword was too fast. Xiao Chen only managed to draw his saber halfway before Yunfei's sword blocked it. Dang! When the tip of Yunfei's sword touched Yunfei's saber, Xiao Chen vaguely saw the image of a head formed by boundless strong winds roaring ferociously behind Yunfei. The other party immediately suppressed Xiao Chen's aura, forcing him to remain in the posture of drawing his tyrant saber halfway. The other party forced Xiao Chen back. A strong wind blew by Xiao Chen's ears. With every step back, he could feel the wind behind Yunfei increase in strength. Rumble! The strong wind swept through the entire drill ground. The formless wind seemed solid as it howled back and forth, stirring up the clouds in the sky. Even the sky darkened under the force of the gale. What a terrifying wind, great Tao! Using the sword to control the wind. If this continued, Xiao Chen would lose very sullenly. When Xiao Chen's aura was completely suppressed to rock bottom, he might lose to Yunfei's next sword strike before he could bring out many of his moves. Xiao Chen needed to draw his saber. However, once he did, the other party's sword strike would take advantage of the momentum to descend. Xiao Chen would instantly lose. However, if he did not draw his saber and continued to be suppressed, defeat was only a matter of time. Interesting. Xiao Chen's blood surged, and a boundless fighting spirit burned in his eyes. He had not encountered such a strong sword technique in a long time. Not only did the predicament before him not disrupt Xiao Chen's mental state, but it also made him excited. His blood surged and his fighting spirit soared. In the time it took for a spark to fly, Xiao Chen did not have much time to think. Should I draw my saber or not? This is simply a trap. Whether I draw it or not, I will lose. The best way to do this is to find another way. Whoosh! Xiao Chen's left hand, which held the scabbard, suddenly loosened and the scabbard flew out. The instant the scabbard flew out, Xiao Chen's left hand ferociously smashed a palm strike on the saber. With the aid of this palm strike, Xiao Chen, who was originally suppressed and forced to retreat, instantly stabilized his footing. Amid a loud sound, Xiao Chen's palm strike knocked Yunfei back. However, the instant Yunfei was knocked back, he executed a second sword strike. This sword strike was twice as fast as the previous one, piercing towards Xiao Chen. Whoosh! Now that Xiao Chen was prepared, he managed to dodge it by a hair's breadth. However, just as he dodged, Yunfei's third sword strike arrived. The speed of this sword strike was still twice as fast as the previous one. The scarier thing was that Xiao Chen discovered that not only was Yunfei's every sword strike twice as fast as the previous one, but its might could also be stacked. After the third sword strike, Yunfei stacked the second sword strike. A vast sword might pressed down on Xiao Chen. Even the air froze under this sword strike. As Xiao Chen moved his feet, He clearly felt a great pressure on his movement technique, slowing it down significantly. At this moment, unless Xiao Chen executed a secret technique, such as the Taiji Yin-Yang flame diagram, the candle dragon eyes, or the divine lightning eye, it would be very difficult to break out of this situation. However, that would be pointless. It would make him look like a sore loser. After dodging the third sword strike with much difficulty and waiting for Yunfei to execute the fourth sword strike, Xiao Chen decisively chose to admit defeat. I admit defeat. Whoosh! Xiao Chen tossed the sword into the air, and it turned into a beam of light that returned to the scabbard on his back. The strong wind that made the world pale instantly vanished, and the pressure it brought vanished. Ha ha! Xiao Chen, you are really capable. To think that you can dodge 3 sword strikes in your first exchange. I thought you were going to lose in the second strike. Lei Hao walked over and said with admiration. This was because Xiao Chen was not even 100 years old and was only a small perfection sovereign personage. Furthermore, this was his first time coming into contact with the 13-wind controlling sword. To be able to dodge 3 sword strikes was already very impressive. After all, this 13-wind controlling swords was a supreme sword technique left behind by a sword god. Even the Peach Blossom Sovereign Emperor had not comprehended it. Lei Hao, you're wrong. Just now, Xiao Chen had the chance to break my third sword. Yunfei shook his head and corrected him. This time, it was Lei Hao's turn to be shocked. He looked at Xiao Chen incredulously and said, Old brother Xiao Chen, can you really break the third sword? Xiao Chen nodded and said, I know 2 secret techniques. One is a defensive secret technique that can block the full power strike of a peak sovereign personage. It's an eye bloodline technique that allows one to instantly burn their opponent's soul with the flame of the candle dragon. However, even if I execute it, I might not be able to block the 4th sword strike. I believe that Brother Yunfei will have to use the 6th sword strike to determine the victor. That would not be necessary. After all, this is just an exchange of pointers, not a life and death battle. However, Yunfei and Lei Hao felt comfortable hearing Xiao Chen's words. Their impression of Xiao Chen improved significantly. At the same time, there was no need for Xiao Chen to be overly competitive as a follower of the Peach Blossom Sovereign Emperor. Let's stop here for today. Xiao Chen, I'll come and exchange pointers with you tomorrow. Let's fight to our heart's content. The sword technique that Yunfei cultivates will not allow him to fight to his heart's content. If we exchange pointers, we will definitely fight to our heart's content. When Lei Hao saw Xiao Chen's strength and character, he felt tempted. He looked forward to exchanging moves with Xiao Chen. All right, it's a deal then. Xiao Chen smiled faintly and agreed straightforwardly. Chapter 2089. During these 7 days, Xiao Chen established a pretty good relationship with Yunfei and Lei Hao. As they exchanged moves with each other, they benefited greatly. As for Yunfei's 13-wind controlling swords, after exchanging moves many times, Xiao Chen could already easily endure the other party's 5th move. Xiao Chen had a rough understanding of the pros and cons of this sword technique. This sword technique was too unyielding and lacked room for maneuver. With less room to maneuver, he forced both his opponent and himself into a desperate situation. Even if Xiao Chen ran into a peak sovereign personage, he would be able to hold his own with this sword technique. This sword technique did not leave a path of retreat for himself or his opponent. The martial Dao focused on advancing both hard and soft. Such an extreme sword technique clearly could not be respected. However, based on what Yunfei said, if one cultivated all 13 swords, one could also advance both hard and soft. However, before one reached consummation, one would not have much room for retreat. As for Lei Hao, Xiao Chen preferred exchanging moves with him. The other party was more than 200 years old. After becoming familiar with him, Xiao Chen addressed him as Big Brother Lei Hao. When the two fought, they could fight to their heart's content. They could bring out their strength without having to worry. This brought great benefits to both of them. They could improve each other in a hearty battle, discovering their own inadequacies. After 7 days, Xiao Chen's group arrived at the city lord's residence as arranged. Aside from the three, there were dozens of other disciples. These people were clearly much weaker than Yun Fei and Lei Hao. These disciples participated in the Heavenly Alliance's test to accumulate experience and obtain some other rewards. Soon, the Peach Blossom Sovereign Emperor and Senior Chui appeared before the group of people. The Peach Blossom Sovereign Emperor looked at Xiao Chen's group and nodded slightly. Then, he said, "You do not know what day it is today, so I will not say more. At that time, just do your best and bring out your potential. Don't disappoint me." "We definitely will not disappoint, City Lord," the disciples below answered in unison. "All right, let's depart then." The Peach Blossom Sovereign Emperor waved his hand, and a silver warship descended from the sky. This warship flickered with light, looking very dazzling under the sunlight. A 9-star heaven-suspending warship. Just this warship alone was equivalent to that of an ordinary sovereign emperor. A heaven-suspending warship that reached 7-star was not something that ordinary sovereign emperors could obtain. The Peach Blossom Sovereign Emperor's 9-star warship probably did not exceed 100 in the entire Great Thousand Realms. Xiao Chen felt somewhat surprised. It looked like the Peach Blossom Sovereign Emperor would be going with them. Given the Peach Blossom Sovereign Emperor's status, he had to personally accompany the Heavenly Alliance's test. This meant that the standards of the Heavenly Alliance's test had reached a very high level. The interior of the 9-star heaven-suspending warship was very spacious. Everyone had their own room, and the rooms were equipped with all sorts of facilities. Everything a martial artist needed could be found here. Not only was there a special spirit-gathering formation in the cultivation room, but there was also a small mountain-sized pile of primeval heavenly pills for anyone to use. In the bedroom, there was a Buddhist incense burner that could calm one's mind and help nourish one's soul. With the speed of the 9-star battleship, it only took them 3 days to arrive at the desolate city, which was hundreds of millions of kilometers away. If Xiao Chen and the others relied on their own strength, they would need at least 1 or 2 months to reach Desolate City. Desolate City was at the easternmost end of the Desolate Sea. There was a true sea there. Past that sea was the territory of the 3 dynasties, which held the absolute luck of the entire central Great Realm. "We've arrived. Everyone, disembark." The Peach Blossom Sovereign Emperor sent out a message. Xiao Chen, Yun Fei, and Lei Hao disembarked the warship at the same time. The moment they landed, they were shocked by a dazzling golden light in the distance. That was a boundless sea. When the setting sun shone on it, the afterglow of the setting sun covered the sea, making it shimmer and look dazzling. An ancient and vast city stood on the sea. Under the light of the setting sun, the city gave off a holy feeling. The glorious city looked like a vast nation. "Little brother Xiao, is this your first time seeing Desolate City?" Lei Hao asked softly as he stood beside Xiao Chen. As he looked at Desolate City, his eyes also filled with awe. However, he was not as shocked as Xiao Chen. Xiao Chen nodded and said, "Unexpectedly, there really is such a vast sea in the Desolate Sea." Yun Fei smiled and said, "This is the overflowing sea. Beyond this sea is the 3 dynasties. In the middle of this sea, in the center of this sea, there is a world gate that connects to the 7 great forbidden seas. It can be considered a sea of trade." No wonder the master of Desolate City was the Heavenly Alliance. As a faction formed by peak merchant associations, controlling such a city was simply too important. "Let's go. Master is already waiting for us." Right. Under the lead of the Peach Blossom Sovereign Emperor and Old Chui, the Peach Blossom Sovereign Emperor cultivators headed for Desolate City. Along the way, the group met with several teams with the same goal as the Peach Blossom Sovereign Emperor, heading to Desolate City to participate in the Heavenly Alliance's test. Xiao Chen discovered that many of them were true inheritors of rank 6 sects, even rank 7 sects. Xiao Chen felt somewhat shocked at the strength of the Heavenly Alliance. To think that even rank 7 sects would send their disciples to join the Heavenly Alliance. Perhaps a super faction was even more horrifying than Xiao Chen imagined. He could not use ordinary standards to view them. Big Brother Peach Blossom. To think that you came personally. Brother Peach Blossom, it has been a long time. It's rare to see you again. Along the way, several sovereign emperors leading the teams showed surprise on their faces when they saw the Peach Blossom sovereign emperor. Then, they rushed over to greet him. Although they were all sovereign emperors, these people were exceptionally respectful to the Peach Blossom sovereign emperor, filling them with awe. The Peach Blossom sovereign emperor smiled and replied politely, but he did not say anything else. It was clear that the Peach Blossom sovereign emperor was rather proud in his heart and would not be overly polite. The many teams headed for Desolate City in a grandiose manner. Xiao Chen took a quick look and estimated at least several thousand people. Most of them were sovereign personages under 500 years old. These were the people who came from the Desolate Sea to participate in the test. Furthermore, they were the early batch. If the participants from the outer sea clusters were included, the number of cultivators participating in the Heavenly Alliance's test would be much more than what the Peach Blossom Sovereign Emperor said. The competition seemed somewhat intense. There are really a lot of people, Lei Hao said softly, feeling somewhat unconfident. With a cursory look, there were not many weaklings. Xiao Chen did not know how many people the Heavenly Alliance would accept in the test. There were not many people who could say with confidence that they would definitely be chosen. Xiao Chen said calmly, "Big brother, calm down. I believe in your strength. You still stand a good chance." Lei Hao smiled helplessly and said, "I hope so. However, there is no specific time for the Heavenly Alliance's test. It might open once in 100 years. The next time might be 1,000 years later. If you miss it once, you might miss it for life." Although there were many people participating in the test, there were even more people heading for Desolate City. Desolate City could be considered one of the 10 most bustling cities in the entire Central Great Realm. It visited the overflowing sea, the 7 forbidden seas, the 3 dynasties in the distance, and the people from all walks of life in the eastern and northern regions. Normally, tens of millions of people lived in Desolate City. The number of people going in and out was even more uncountable. Even a sovereign emperor would feel insignificant before such a city. "Come with me. Don't get lost." The Peach Blossom sovereign emperor did not choose to enter the city gates. Instead, he led the group to a heavily guarded Dao platform outside the city. This Dao platform was not open to outsiders. Only those with a special medallion could enter. When Xiao Chen looked back, he saw that all the people who came to take the test did not choose to enter the city gate. Instead, they all went to this Dao platform built on the mountainside. This Dao platform was not very large. However, it could accommodate 1,000 people at a time. When there were 1,000 people, the elders around the Dao platform activated the formation to activate the Dao platform. Among the crowd, Xiao Chen only saw a flash of light. In the next moment, the scene before him changed drastically. Then, he appeared on an even larger Dao platform. Xiao Chen was shocked to discover that this Dao platform was about the same size as the one in the Blue Dragon Ancient City. Of course, the most important thing was that this Dao platform floated in the air. The boundless starry heavens looked like one could pluck the stars just by stretching out one's hand. "Peach Blossom, you are here." Many thrones floated in the starry heavens above the Dao platform. A purple-haired old man in the middle greeted the Peach Blossom Sovereign Emperor with a smile when he saw him. This old man exuded a vast and boundless might. The flame mark on his forehead deterred Xiao Chen from looking at him directly. Xiao Chen felt shocked. Could this purple-haired old man be a faux god? The Peach Blossom Sovereign Emperor nodded slightly. Then, he turned his head and said to Xiao Chen and the others, "You all stay on the Dao platform and wait for the test to begin. Old Shui and I will go over. Whoosh! The Peach Blossom Sovereign Emperor sat on one of the thrones in a low-profile manner. Old Shui stood beside him but did not take a throne. More and more cultivators were sent over, one after another. They stayed behind with Xiao Qin and the others. The leading sovereign emperor flew into the starry heavens and sat on a throne. 1 hour later, more than 10,000 people filled the entire Dao platform. Many people guessed what the Heavenly Alliance's test would be like. At the same time, they felt shocked that so many people came to compete. Silence. The purple-haired old man suddenly said, and everyone immediately fell silent. Everyone looked at the purple-haired old man at the same time. Very good. I am Desolate City's City Lord, Shangguan Yun. I am also the host of this Heavenly Alliance's test in Desolate City. There are 100 similar test zones in the Great Thousand Realms. This test has broken a record. More than 1 million sovereign personages came to compete for the Heavenly Alliance's test. 1 million sovereign personages. The crowd on the Dao platform immediately burst into a huge commotion, deeply shocked. Chapter 2090. More than 1 million? That's too exaggerated. I heard that there were only a few 100,000 people in the past few years. This is probably the Heavenly Alliance's test with the highest number of people since the previous Great War between the righteous factions and demonic factions. Difficult, difficult, difficult. With more than 1 million people, it will be even harder to enter the Heavenly Alliance. The number of 1 million incited a huge discussion. Even the sovereign emperors on their thrones in the starry heavens conversed with each other, appearing somewhat incredulous. The Peach Blossom Sovereign Emperor frowned slightly. Actually, he did not care about the Heavenly Alliance's test. Even if Xiao Qin, Yun Fei, and Lei Hao did not enter the Heavenly Alliance, Xiao Qin would only be slightly disappointed. His emotions would not change much. In reality, the other sovereign emperors here were the Heavenly Alliance's outer circle elders. As long as they could bring disciples or members into the Heavenly Alliance, they would be rewarded. If Xiao Qin performed well, he could even continue climbing the ranks and enter the Heavenly Alliance's core elder circle. Unlike the other sovereign emperors, the Peach Blossom Sovereign Emperor did not care about this. Back then, he had been a core elder. Now that he had retired, he was already indifferent. However, when Xiao Qin heard the purple-haired old man say that there would be more than 1 million cultivators participating in this test, his expression immediately changed. Such a large number means that the martial epoch has already recovered from the destruction of the previous war between the righteous factions and demonic factions, reaching a new peak. Since the Heavenly Alliance managed to recruit so many people, the other super factions will definitely be stronger. This is not a good thing. The Peach Blossom Sovereign Emperor entered deep thought but did not say anything to the other sovereign emperors. The purple-haired old man swept his gaze around, and the place fell silent once more. The old man said indifferently, "Now, let me explain. All the cultivators participating in the first stage of the Heavenly Alliance's test have to go to the Heavenly Alliance. You will be randomly teleported to a special secret realm and stay there for a month. There are a total of 100 mystic realms. You can attack without worry in these mystic realms. The secret realm's heavenly Tao rules will push you out at the moment of everyone's death, so your life won't be in danger. There are special spirit jades refined by my Heavenly Alliance in the secret realm. They contain the faux god mark, which cannot be faked. What you need to do is find the faux god spirit jades in there. The more, the better. After 1 month, if the faux god spirit jades you possess do not rank within the top 100 of your secret realm, you will not be able to participate in the second stage." Xiao Qin fell into deep thought. There were 100 special secret realms, which meant that each secret realm had about 10,000 people. To put it simply, one had to be ranked in the top 100 among the 10,000 people in order to participate in the next test. How ruthless! After the first round, only 10,000 people would remain, and 990,000 candidates would be eliminated. Lei Hao gasped when he heard this and said softly, "It's too cruel." Yunfei said gravely, "Random teleportation. At that time, the three of us might not be in the same secret realm." Lei Hao's eyes lit up with fighting spirit. "No matter what, the three of us must pass this first stage. We'll meet again in the second stage." "All right." Without giving the cultivators on the Dao platform much time to think, the purple-haired old man activated the Dao platform. After the dazzling white light, the more than 10,000 examinees on the platform disappeared at the same time. In the next moment, runes appeared on the platform, continuously condensing. Many light screens appeared on the Dao platform. There were exactly 100 light screens. The purple-haired old man casually waved his hand, and the light screens immediately expanded 1,000-fold. The light screens stood in the starry heavens, surrounding the many sovereign emperors seated on thrones. The light screens showed the scenes of the secret realms. As the examinees entered, not a single detail escaped the eyes of these sovereign emperors. At the same time, similar scenes played out in the other Heavenly Alliance test sites in the Great Thousand Realms. After the purple-haired old man did all this, he turned around and said with a smile, "We can rest for a while now. I hope that the disciples that everyone brought will not embarrass my desolate city. Same as before, I will reward anyone whose disciple passes the first stage. Little brother Peach Blossom, if I recall correctly, this is your first time personally leading a group here, right? Are there any disciples you are proud of this time?" Right after the purple-haired old man, Shangguan Yun, spoke, his gaze fell on the Peach Blossom Sovereign Emperor. Clearly, the two had a close relationship. The Peach Blossom Sovereign Emperor replied calmly, "I'm fine. I have not moved around for a long time, so I came out to take a look." Peach Blossom Sovereign Emperor, back then, you contributed greatly to the Heavenly Alliance. You were one of the strongest sovereign emperors in the Heavenly Alliance. How come after you retired for so many years, not a single disciple has entered the Heavenly Alliance? No matter what, you were once a core elder of the Heavenly Alliance. You can't retire too thoroughly. The one who spoke was Sovereign Emperor Xingguo. Back then, he had some conflict with the Peach Blossom Sovereign Emperor. Back then, the Peach Blossom Sovereign Emperor always suppressed him. It was rare for the Peach Blossom Sovereign Emperor to come personally, so he teased Xingguo. Up until now, the Peach Blossom Sovereign Emperor had brought 10 disciples into the Heavenly Alliance. Among City Lord Shangguan Yun's subordinates, he was considered the most incredible. When comparing the two, the Peach Blossom Sovereign Emperor, who had no accomplishments, did not have any advantage. The purple-haired old man smiled and said, "Xingguo did not let us down. He did not embarrass my desolate city too much in the Heavenly Alliance's test. Peach Blossom, you have to pay more attention to this matter. After all, if the Heavenly Alliance wants to continue developing, it needs fresh blood. In terms of outstanding talents, we are too far behind the other superfactions. If we cannot even compare to the new disciples, the Heavenly Alliance will fall sooner or later." Lord Shangguan is right. The Peach Blossom Sovereign Emperor felt helpless in his heart. However, this purple-haired old man was a peak faux god expert, the one who once led the Peach Blossom Sovereign Emperor. The Peach Blossom Sovereign Emperor had no choice but to submit to this purple-haired old man. Seeing the Peach Blossom Sovereign Emperor so humble made Sovereign Emperor Xingguo very cocky. "Peach Blossom, don't mind it too much. In recent years, Xingguo had indeed made a lot of achievements. He had to be a role model. It is rare for you to come here. Don't mind him too much. Just give in to him." The purple-haired old man's voice projection rang out in the Peach Blossom Sovereign Emperor's mind. "I know. Don't worry, my lord." The Peach Blossom Sovereign Emperor casually replied. However, the purple-haired old man's comforting words upset the Peach Blossom Sovereign Emperor, causing his expression to turn slightly unsightly. "Elder Cui, where are Yunfei and the others?" Elder Chui pointed at the light screens and said, Shao Chun is in Secret Realm 97, Yun Fei is in Secret Realm 98, and Lei Hao is in Secret Realm 100. Right now, everyone is familiarizing themselves with the environment, and the rankings haven't been released yet. Not only could the light screen show the participants in the Secret Realm, but it could also show the ranking of all the participants. Inside Secret Realm 97, Shao Chen found himself in an ancient, dilapidated city. When he looked around, the entire Secret Realm looked boundlessly vast. There was not a single person in sight. Of course, he did not know if there were people hiding. Participant Shao Chen, hello. I am the manager of Secret Realm 97. As Shao Chen familiarized himself with the environment, a small light figure made of energy essence appeared before him. The light gave off a faint divine might. Hello, the confused Shao Chen replied softly. The small light figure's mechanical voice continued, Every one of you can enjoy my service. I can provide you with your ranking in the Secret Realm. I can give you a map of the Secret Realm and tell you the ranking of the others. If you feel that your life is in danger, you can get me to send you out. However, the faux god spirit jades on you will remain in this Secret Realm the moment you leave. Shao Chen entered deep thought. It looks like this Secret Realm should be a world created by a faux god. The small light figure before Shao Chen was like an item spirit. However, it was much stronger than a regular item spirit. Participant Shao Chen, I wish you good luck. After leaving Shao Chen a map, the small light figure vanished. Shao Chen unfurled the map and discovered that it showed not only the terrain of the entire Secret Realm, but also the hiding techniques of the faux god spirit jade. As Shao Chen looked at the locations marked with the faux god spirit jades, he could imagine what kind of intense killing would occur. The locations with the faux god spirit jades might have other dangers. Shao Chen could sense the auras of terrifying ferocious beasts hidden in the Secret Realm, aside from the auras of human cultivators. However, compared to ferocious beasts, human cultivators were clearly more threatening. The rule of the entire first stage was to force the participants to kill each other and snatch the faux god spirit jades from each other. Just by searching, one would not be able to obtain the top 100 out of 10,000 people. I have 1 month. There is no need to rush. Shao Chen made up his mind. He decided to bide his time and observe quietly. Chapter 2091. City Lord, the person with the best result among Peach Blossom City's disciples is Yun Fei. He is already ranked 5,000th in Secret Realm 98. Lei Hao is slightly weaker, ranked 7,000th or so. As for Shao Chen, he is 9,000th or so. He did not obtain many faux god spirit jade. There's no rush. It has only been 3 days. We can't make out much. However, I have high hopes for Yun Fei. Although this stage is cruel, I believe that he can clear it. The 13 wind controlling swords gives him an advantage over these sovereign personages. Shao Chen is still too young. The examinees who came to take the test this time are still too young. The main participants are great perfection sovereign personages 300 or 400 years old. There are very few who are under 100 years old. There's no rush for Shao Chen. He is still 50 years old and does not fight. He will definitely get a second chance. 3 days had passed since the first stage of the test. The Peach Blossom Sovereign Emperor and Senior Chui discussed the 3 disciples they valued the most. However, they could not make out much in these 3 days. Many experts were familiarizing themselves with the environment of the Secret Realm and would not rush to make a move. The current rankings did not matter too much. The changes happened too quickly. Soon, 10 days had passed since the first stage of the test. Of course, to these sovereign emperors sitting on their thrones in the starry heavens, 10 days was just the blink of an eye. Given their long lifespans, they had developed a patience that others did not have. 1/3 of the test had already passed. The sovereign emperors present started to make some progress. The rankings of the top cultivators in many secret realms were already fixed. Among them, many dazzling experts left a deep impression on the sovereign emperor's present. This secret realm 8's Wu Meng is really strong. Meeting him is simply a nightmare for the other participants. So far, no one has lasted more than 10 moves against him. The weaker ones could not even last 3 moves. Wu Meng is also very murderous. Several people fell for his moves too quickly. The realm spirit nearly failed to rescue him. Secret Realm 50's Shimingxian is also incredible. There are many good seedlings this time. Unfortunately, each secret realm can only pick 100 people in the first stage. Everyone, don't rush to conclusions. It has only been 10 days. The sovereign emperors discussed among themselves. However, the purple-haired old man showed an unsightly expression, because he found that among the 100 secret realms, only a few of the top examinees were from the Barren City assessment area. This was the largest test in history. If the desolate city couldn't even compare to some of the outer regions, it would be a great loss of face. Furthermore, Desolate City was one of the top 10 cities in the Heaven Alliance out of the 100 test zones. Fortunately, some of Xing Ji's disciples were rather eye-catching. One of them was ranked in the top 3 in the 6th secret realm and had the strength to fight for first place. City Lord Yunfei is starting to show off. He's already in the top 1,000. Old Shui kept an eye on the secret realm where Xiao Chen's group was, reporting their rankings to the Peach Blossom Sovereign Emperor. Lei Hao has also made it to the top 3,000, but Xiao Chen, what's wrong with Xiao Chen? The Peach Blossom Sovereign Emperor asked, finding this strange. Elder Chui said hesitantly, Xiao Chen's strength is declining instead of improving. The Peach Blossom Sovereign Emperor could not help saying, not advancing but retreating instead? He was already ranked more than 9,000, how could he retreat? Let me see. The Peach Blossom Sovereign Emperor's gaze fell on the light screen for Secret Realm 97. The last place was Peach Blossom City's Xiao Chen, ranked 9873. As for the 100-odd people, they were all eliminated. Now, only 9,873 participants remained in Secret Realm 97. Haha. Brother Peach Blossom, what's going on? Even if you are not paying attention, there is no need to be so half-hearted. Your disciple is actually ranked last. This is the Heavenly Alliance's test. All the powerhouses of the Heavenly Alliance are watching. Xinggu casually glanced at the light screen and discovered the ranking of Secret Realm 97. Then, he immediately pretended to reprimand Xiao Chen. After Xinggu said that, the surrounding sovereign emperors immediately cast their gazes on Secret Realm 97. Xiao Chen? This person seems to be only 47 years old. He is rather young. A 47-year-old small perfection sovereign personage. Even in a rank 7 sect, he would be an elite among elite. However, he is still too young. Compared to the other mature sovereign personages, there is still a large gap. Indeed, most of the people participating in the Heavenly Alliance's test are 300-year-old or 400-year-old great perfection sovereign personages. This is indeed difficult. He is a good seedling. We should let him participate in the Heavenly Alliance's test after he is 100 years old. After all, he is too young. Whether he can be relied on is a problem. Right. The accomplishments before 100 years old are too flashy, like the moon reflected in the water. One can truly see some things only after 100 years old. The Peach Blossom Sovereign Emperor is too impatient. Out of consideration for the Peach Blossom Sovereign Emperor's prestige, the surrounding sovereign emperors did not say anything unpleasant when they discussed in whispers. This evaluation was rather objective. If it was any other imperial monarch that had enmity with imperial monarch Xinggu, then the imperial monarch might say something unpleasant at this moment. However, the Peach Blossom Sovereign Emperor had a cold and proud personality. Even though these were objective evaluations, he felt somewhat uncomfortable. However, the Peach Blossom Sovereign Emperor was someone who did not care about fame and wealth. While he felt uncomfortable, he did not pay too much attention to it. Old Shui, do you think I was too impatient and overestimated Xiao Chen? Isn't this harming Xiao Chen? The Peach Blossom Sovereign Emperor ignored the discussions of Sovereign Emperor Xingguo and the other sovereign emperors. Instead, he felt somewhat worried about whether Xiao Chen could endure this blow. After all, Xiao Chen was still a youth. He had traveled from the outer region until now and had not seen anything truly grand. Suddenly, Xiao Chen was tossed into the Heavenly Alliance's test to participate in the sovereign personage competition of the entire Great Thousand Realms. If Xiao Chen could not adapt and lose confidence, his mental state would not be able to endure it. That would be a huge problem. Old Shui did not know what to say. He could only console the Peach Blossom Sovereign Emperor. Xiao Chen is a pretty good child. His mental state is much better than that of the other youths. There should not be any problems. City Lord, there is no need to worry. I hope so. At this moment, in Secret Realm 97, in the same dilapidated city, Xiao Chen sat cross-legged with his eyes closed, cultivating the 10,000 Dragons picture. For the past 10 days, Xiao Chen had not moved at all, remaining in this dilapidated city. This dilapidated ancient city was incredibly remote, and there were no faux god spirit jades. During the past few days, Xiao Chen had seen many figures flying in the air. However, no one noticed Xiao Chen in the city. In reality, there was nothing worth paying attention to. Whoosh! A scarlet figure flew over in the sky. It was Xiao Chen's demonic pet, the demon blood vulture. The demon blood vulture circled around before landing. Xiao Chen opened his eyes, and the demon blood vulture appeared before Xiao Chen. Then, it opened its beak and spat out a few spirit jades radiating divine light. Although Xiao Chen had not moved during the past 10 days, he had relied on the demon blood vulture to familiarize himself with this secret realm. It was as Xiao Chen guessed. Most places with faux god spirit jades had ferocious beasts. Some ferocious beasts even had faux god spirit jades in advance. After killing them, one would obtain a large number of faux god spirit jade. Now, nearly all the faux god spirit jades that could be found on the map were gone. In the remaining 20 days, there was only one way to obtain more faux god spirit jades: snatch them. The curtains to the true tragic battle were about to officially begin. I have already waited too long to rest and build up my strength for 10 days. A brilliant light flashed in Xiao Chen's eyes as he toyed with the faux god spirit jades that the demon blood vulture delivered. Then, he muttered to himself, "It is time to take action." Xiao Chen spread out his spiritual sense. Then, he sensed cultivators within 50,000 kilometers. Xiao Chen sensed those with the most faux god spirit jade. The light coming from their bodies intensified. As long as one carried faux god spirit jades, one could forget about hiding in this secret realm. It is. Someone within 50,000 kilometers shone with a bright light. Xiao Chen estimated that there were at least 3,000 faux god spirit jades on him. Whoosh! 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 Xiao Chen's figure flashed. After 15 minutes, he found his target on a mound. That was a black-clad Great Perfection sovereign personage. He leaned leisurely on a rock with a sword stabbed into the ground, easily within reach. This black-clad man was in no rush to take the initiative to attack. The faux god spirit jades on him would attract many participants. He could no longer remember how many fearless people came over to snatch his faux god spirit jade. However, this black-clad man ended up killing them instead, increasing the number of faux god spirit jades on him. The black-clad man glanced around and saw Xiao Chen on the mound. He could not help smiling. Interesting. To think that a small perfection sovereign personage is targeting me. Scram far away. I have no interest in playing with you, pauper. The black-clad man's soul energy detected no light coming from Xiao Chen's body. With one look, it was clear that someone had already ransacked him. Such trash was worthless. The black-clad man could not even be bothered to look at him. This was a great perfection sovereign personage who comprehended the sword Great Tao. His sword intent was very strong, but he was still far from comprehending a Tao domain. Compared to Yun Fei, this black-clad man was at least 50% weaker. Given his carelessness, he should be able to deal with him in 2 moves. On the mound, Xiao Chen's expression did not change as he quickly made a rough estimate of the other party's strength. Eye technique, Candle Dragon Eyes. A candle dragon image immediately appeared behind Xiao Chen. In the next moment, a boundless, cold candle flame started burning on the black-clad man without any warning. Ka-Cie. Nearly at the same time the black-clad man executed the eye technique, Xiao Chen leaped forward. Before the black-clad man could scream, a resplendent saber light appeared on his neck. In the next moment, blood spurted out like a fountain. You. The black-clad man looked at Xiao Chen in horror. Never in his wildest dreams would he have imagined that the seemingly weak Xiao Chen would erupt with such strong combat prowess. However, it was already too late. The black-clad man's body slowly immaterialized as the realm spirit sent him out. After the black-clad man was sent out, a large pile of faux god spirit jades flickering with a divine nature remained in the air, a total of 3,800 pieces. Xiao Chen sheathed his saber and gently beckoned. Without standing on ceremony, Xiao Chen put all the faux god spirit jades into his storage ring. Then, he calmly searched for his next target. Up in the starry heavens on the Tao platform, the somewhat dispirited old Chui's expression suddenly changed. He rubbed his eyes and looked around 3 times before daring to confirm it. City Lord! City Lord! This is incredible! What's wrong? Why are you making such a big fuss? Xiao Chen, is he eliminated? No, I saw his name jump 800 places earlier. Then, it jumped another 1,000 places. He is already in the top 3,000. This news startled the Peach Blossom Sovereign Emperor when he heard it. Half a day ago, Xiao Chen was still ranked last. How could it be so exaggerated in just half a day? When the Peach Blossom Sovereign Emperor looked at the light screen for number 97, he was shocked to discover that Xiao Chen's name had jumped again. Xiao Chen's name had jumped from the top 3,000 to the top 1,500. Am I seeing things? Or is there something wrong with the Realm Spirit's ranking? The Peach Blossom Sovereign Emperor felt some disbelief. Chapter 2092. Everyone, look! The Peach Blossom Sovereign Emperor's follower jumped by 5,000 ranks in half a day. Just as the Peach Blossom Sovereign Emperor suspected that he saw wrong, the other Sovereign Emperors on the thrones in the starry heavens cried out in shock. After all, everyone had a rather deep impression of Xiao Chen. The Peach Blossom Sovereign Emperor's follower was ranked last. Furthermore, Xiao Chen was so young. It was impossible not to have an impression of him. Anyone would be shocked to find out that the person who had been ranked last had suddenly jumped to the top 2,000th place. How strange! How did he do it? This is too shocking. He jumped by 5,000th rank in half a day. Was he hiding his strength all this while? That is very possible. However, even if he was hiding his strength, he should not have jumped by 5,000th rank in half a day. This is too exaggerated. It is still jumping. He is already ranked 1,800th. My goodness! How long has it been since we spoke? This. Lord Shangguan, please adjust Secret Realm 97 to Xiao Chen's scene. Everyone here was a sovereign emperor and had seen many major scenes. Many things were no longer strange. The Heavenly Alliance's test had taken place several times already. However, they had never seen such a strange scene before. Xiao Chen's ranking jumped so quickly that no one could react. The most crucial thing was that the Peach Blossom Sovereign Emperor's follower was only 47 years old. If one counted carefully, Xiao Chen was probably the youngest of the participants in this test. The many sovereign emperors immediately requested the purple-haired old man to get Secret Realm 97's realm spirit to lock the light screen on Xiao Chen. Previously, the realm spirit controlled the light screen. However, if the purple-haired old man interfered, he could get the realm spirit to lock the light screen on a specific participant. Peach Blossom, your follower is rather interesting. After he comes out, introduce him to me. The purple-haired old man smiled and fulfilled everyone's wish, locking the light screen on Xiao Qin. Definitely. The Peach Blossom Sovereign Emperor smiled faintly. Initially, he did not hold much hope for Xiao Qin. To think that he managed to attract Lord Shangguan's attention, gaining some face for the Peach Blossom Sovereign Emperor. This was great. Even if Xiao Qin did not pass the test, the purple-haired old man had the authority to let him enter the Heavenly Alliance. Of course, this was only a possibility. Emperor Xinggu pursed his lips and said, "It's no big deal. I didn't even make it into the top 1,000. At the end of the month, whether or not I'll be able to make it into the top 100 is still a question. My disciple, Nangong Feng, already made it into the top 10 in Secret Realm 10. He will definitely pass this stage." The purple-haired old man, Shangguan Yun, smiled and said, "Xinggu, you can't say that. The most important thing about Xiao Qin was that he was young. He was not even 100 years old, but he already had such strength. Compared to the other factions, our Heavenly Alliance lacks such powerful demonic geniuses. If he really has perseverance, even if he does not show any results now, he would be worth the Heavenly Alliance nurturing." After all, compared to the other superpowers, the Heavenly Alliance was only an alliance formed by a group of peak chambers of commerce. Although the Heavenly Alliance was already in existence that superpowers could not afford to underestimate, the Heavenly Alliance was still in existence that could not be underestimated. However, in terms of accumulations of the martial Dao, the Xuewu dynasty's demonic Dao Hall, the Underworld God Hall, the Tianwu dynasty's Universe Origin Sect, the Yanwu dynasty's Hidden Spirit Temple, the Shenwu dynasty's Profound Heaven Holy Land, and the Bushan Palace that controlled the 8 great empires. Naturally, the Heavenly Alliance was not as attractive to powerful demonic geniuses. Look, Xiao Qin is now ranked 900th. Just at this moment, the scene of Xiao Qin killing a great perfection sovereign personage appeared on the light screen for Secret Realm 97. Densely packed faux god spirit jades immediately filled the light screen with the starry heavens. The eliminated person who was sent out before he died left behind a sky full of faux god spirit jades. This scene was very shocking. Xiao Qin, who was below, stretched out his hand and collected all the faux god spirit jade. Then, his ranking jumped up. Xiao Qin charged into the top 1,000, rising to 900. So, that is the case. His spirit jades are all obtained by killing experts and robbing them. What a domineering brat. This was probably his plan from the start. He let the others search for spirit jades first and fight for them first. Then, he rested and built up his strength. When most of the spirit jades in the secret realm are gone, he will make his move and kill whoever has the most spirit jades. Ah! This little fellow Xiao Qin has the air of the Peach Blossom Sovereign Emperor from back then. He is direct and decisive. What an interesting fellow. This is also based on his own strength. If he dared to do this without being strong enough, he would have been killed long ago. How incredible! Who could have imagined that he would charge into the top 1,000? Xinggu, who had just said that Xiao Qin was nothing, not even entering the top 1,000, showed a stunned expression, immediately feeling embarrassed. Although the Peach Blossom Sovereign Emperor was not as petty as Xinggu, the more indifferent the Peach Blossom Sovereign Emperor was, the more upset Xinggu felt. Right now, this Peach Blossom Sovereign Emperor must be mocking me in his heart, Sovereign Emperor Xinggu thought indignantly. Damn it! Why hasn't someone come and killed this fellow yet? Is everyone in Secret Realm 97 trash? City Lord, Yun Fei's and Lei Hao's results are pretty good. The two of them also made it into the top 1,000. This is especially so for Yun Fei. He already made it into the top 300. It looks like he has a good chance of making it into the top 100. Old Shui took some time to pay attention to the results of the other participants in Peach Blossom City before reporting the good news to the Peach Blossom Sovereign Emperor. The Peach Blossom Sovereign Emperor smiled faintly and said, "Not bad. It was worth it." The Peach Blossom Sovereign Emperor had been very indifferent in the first place. He already felt very satisfied with these unexpected results. This was how the human heart was. When one was content, one would always be happy. Sovereign Emperor Xingji's disciples all made it into the top 10, but he did not feel happy at all. Inside the secret realm, after Xiao Chen reached the 900th rank, his ranking started to slow. The secret realm was filled with sovereign personages in the first place. Those who could enter the top 1,000 were all experts without exception. They all had many faux god spirit jade. Xiao Chen could not surpass them in a short time. Furthermore, Xiao Chen had been inconspicuous at the start, which was why he managed to succeed. However, Xiao Chen's ranking now jumped wildly, jumping more than 8,000 places from the last to the top 1,000. This had already caused a huge commotion in Secret Realm 97. It was no longer possible for him to keep a low profile. Xiao Chen called out to the realm spirit in his heart. Immediately, a small light figure giving off a divine light appeared before him. "Congratulations, participant Xiao Chen. You jumped from the bottom to the 900th rank in half a day. Earlier, I received a request from Desolate City's City Lord. The light screen for Desolate City's Test Zone 97 has already locked onto you." After the realm spirit appeared, it spoke before Xiao Chen could say anything. When Xiao Chen heard that, he felt slightly stunned. Being noticed was not a bad thing. "Thank you. However, there is no need to congratulate me. It is pointless if I do not enter the top 100. The little light figure corrected Xiao Chen. "Even if you do not enter the top 100, you still deserve to be congratulated. After the competition, you can exchange your faux god spirit jades for all sorts of resources and treasures from the Heavenly Alliance. Why do you think everyone risked their lives to protect their faux god spirit jades? Even if you do not exchange them, you can absorb them for many benefits. Furthermore, do you think it is that easy to enter the top 100? All the sovereign personages of the Great Thousand Realms are gathered here. Those who can enter the top 100 in any secret realm are absolute experts among experts, existences who can preside over an astral region." It turned out that the faux god spirit jades had such wondrous uses. In that case, even if one did not enter the top 100, it would not be a loss. Xiao Chen nodded and said, "Coincidentally, I called you out to see who the people in the top 100 are." The little light figure said softly, "All right. I will tell you how many faux god spirit jades the top 100 participants have, their cultivation, the weapons they use, their appearance, and their age. However, I cannot provide you with any other information." "All right, that is enough. Sorry for the trouble." Soon, the little light figure presented the information of the top 100 participants in Secret Realm 97 to Xiao Chen. After Xiao Chen looked through the list carefully, his expression turned somewhat grave. These were the top 100 participants. Most of the participants in the top 100 were peak sovereign personages, and they were more than 300 years old. Many of them were more than 400 years old, at least 10 times older than Xiao Chen. However, the people in the top 100 who had not reached peak sovereign personages could not be underestimated, either. For these people to be able to push other peak sovereign personages out of the top 100, they definitely had something extraordinary about them. They might even have comprehended a Dao domain. The one that caught Xiao Chen's attention was the person ranked first. That person had a startling number of faux god spirit jades, more than 2 million, double that of the person in second place, Gong Liangyu. Xiao Chen wondered how this person obtained his faux god spirit jades. Xiao Chen looked at his own faux god spirit jades. He barely had 100,000, 20-odd times less than the person in first place. Even the last 100 had more than 400,000 faux god spirit jade. He still had a long way to go. The Peach Blossom Sovereign Emperor had said the same thing about the little light figure. This was a test from the entire Great Thousand Realms, a grand scene that he had never experienced before. This was a completely different experience from the arena battles that he had experienced in the past. This was not a stage for people of the same generation. Being young was Xiao Chen's greatest disadvantage. There was no need to say that this was unfair. This was the Heavenly Alliance's rules. One could come back in a few hundred years. Since one was already here, one should not complain about being wronged. Can you tell me how this Gong Liangyu obtained the faux god spirit jades he has? Xiao Chen asked the little light figure, sensing that this person had an abnormal amount of faux god spirit jade. The little light figure explained, he killed the 10 strongest ferocious beasts in the secret realm. At the same time, 10 peak sovereign personages died at his hands. Now, no one dares to offend him. I advise you not to target him. What a ruthless person. Someone is heading towards you. Good luck. The little light figure vanished. Xiao Chen looked around and could not help frowning slightly. There were a total of 5 groups of people, and each group had at least a dozen examinees. It seemed that the abnormal jump in his ranking had caused some trouble. Chapter 2093. Whoosh. Not long after the little light figure vanished, figures flickered in Xiao Chen's vision. In the next moment, 60-odd participants appeared before Xiao Chen. Peach Blossom City's Xiao Chen? The light on his body is very strong. He probably has at least 100,000 faux god spirit jades. That's more than all of us combined. He truly lives up to being someone who jumped more than 8,000 ranks in one day. When the close to 70-odd participants arrived before Xiao Chen, greed appeared in their eyes. The leader of the group wore blue robes and held a sword. He showed a ferocious expression as he said, "Cut the crap. If you want to remain in this secret realm, hand over all the faux god spirit jades on you." The 70-odd participants' auras merged into one. Their Tao might spread out, appearing very vast and terrifying. Countless auras locked onto Xiao Chen. As long as he made any strange movements, all sorts of killing moves would await Xiao Chen. Xiao Chen took a quick look and felt somewhat disappointed. Even the strongest 5 of these people did not rank in the top 1,000. Can more people decide the outcome of the battle? Xiao Chen smiled faintly, and a dragon roar erupted from his body. This dragon roar shook the surroundings. At the same time, Xiao Chen's blue dragon divine might spread out together with this dragon roar. The 3 layers of Tao might behind him layered over each other, making his dragon might look solid and very impactful. Compared to this, the opponent's seemingly massive aura and stacked layers of Tao might were like paper. The aura that Xiao Chen erupted with easily shattered the other side's aura. The group of people immediately turned somewhat flustered. They were forced to scatter and stabilize their auras. However, Xiao Chen's attack was already like a great flood or ferocious beast. How could he give them a chance to regain their auras? Die. None of you can leave. An indistinct 10,000 dragons picture appeared behind Xiao Chen. Then, he shouted and quickly executed the Supreme Dragon Fist. Right now, Xiao Chen's execution of the Supreme Dragon Fist was completely different from when he executed it in the Divine Dragon Empire. As Xiao Chen attacked, he executed 3 moves of the Supreme Dragon Fist, Heart of Clouds and Water. The mighty group of dragons roamed the heavens and the earth, ascending to the heavens and diving into the sea. Who was supreme? In the 4 seas and 8 wastelands, the dragons were leaderless. The world was unfair, and the evil dragon was in power. How could he be respected? Bad luck, life as thin as paper. What is a supreme being? What is a venerable being? I am the supreme, only I am supreme. When Xiao Chen executed the Supreme Dragon Fist, he combined it with his surging killing chi and the 10,000 dragons picture in his mind. The 60-odd great perfection sovereign personages were mercilessly suppressed by Shao Qin, unable to advance or retreat. 10,000 dragons soared into the sky, following him like shadows. He couldn't leave even if he wanted to, and he couldn't win even if he wanted to. The rage in the sky was the heaven dragon roaring. The murderous qi filling the sky was the hot-bloodedness burning in Shao Qian's body. Die! 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 Miserable shrieks rang out. The realm spirit continuously sent out participants, leaving behind foe god spirit Jade. Shao Qin turned into a killing god, moving like a roaming dragon. As electric light flashed, he continuously punched, chasing after the participants who tried to flee. When Shao Qin punched, 10,000 dragons roared. The sky shook, the ground trembled, and mountains and rivers exploded. This group of people, who were already frightened out of their wits, could not block the berserk Shao Qin at all. Run! 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 Just a moment ago, these people were incredibly arrogant, wanting Shao Qin to hand over their spirit Jade. In the next moment, they fell into hell, screaming endlessly. When the several participants in the distance saw this scene, their bodies trembled slightly, horror appearing in their eyes. How ruthless! It is best not to casually offend this person. For him to jump more than 8,000 ranks in one day, how can he be someone that can be trampled on? Indeed, these fellows are too naive. When they saw that Shao Qin was only a small perfection sovereign personage, they wanted to come and bully him. The facts have proven that the lower the cultivation of the people in the top ranks, the more terrifying they are, just like the great perfection sovereign personages in the top 100. At the same time, the sovereign emperors watching the light screen in desolate cities' starry heavens felt shocked. That is the Supreme Dragon Fist. It is one of the 3 strongest offensive martial techniques in the world. How incredible! The Peach Blossom Sovereign Emperor really chose a powerful demonic genius this time. He is too strong. Letting him participate in the Heavenly Alliance's test was the right decision. Such a powerful, outstanding talent can only truly grow after experiencing such battles. That's right. The Heavenly Alliance's test gathers all the sovereign personage experts of the Great Thousand Realms. Even if he loses in the end, it will be very beneficial to this Shao Qin. When Sovereign Emperor Xing heard the group of sovereign emperors praising the Peach Blossom Sovereign Emperor's choice of disciple, he showed an unsightly expression, feeling upset in his heart. These fellows only know how to flatter the Peach Blossom Sovereign Emperor. Even when my disciple, Nangong Feng, made it into the top 10, I did not hear you say that. Up on the light screen, Shao Qin withdrew his hand and collected all the scattered foe god spirit jades in the air. Shao Qin's ranking jumped from 900 to 800. Now that he was in the top 1,000, it would be somewhat difficult for him to make such a large jump like before. Shao Qin was already very satisfied with advancing 100 rank. One got away. After collecting the foe god spirit jades, Shao Qin looked around and discovered that it was the ferocious-looking blue-clad cultivator who shouted at him at the start. After him, Shao Qin's figure flashed, and he executed Light of Freedom. Then, he turned into a lightning bolt and gave chase. Damn it! Damn it! The blue-clad sovereign personage wiped off the blood at the corner of his lip. As he looked at Shao Qin, who was chasing after him, he cursed continuously. The blue-clad sovereign personage had not expected a small perfection sovereign personage to erupt with such terrifying combat prowess. Not only that, but the combat experience that the blue-clad sovereign personage showed was also seasoned and calm, surpassing that of these sovereign personages who were only a few hundred years old. The blue-clad sovereign personage was truly a 47-year-old small perfection sovereign personage. Pu Ci. The blue-clad cultivator, who was concerned about whether he could escape from Shao Qin, suddenly discovered a spear stabbed into his chest. A terrifying force surged out from the spearhead. This force would destroy his physical body in the next moment. At the crucial moment, the realm's spirit made a move and directly sent the blue-clad sovereign personage out. Whoosh! Xiao Chen's figure appeared, and his gaze fell on a spear-wielding cultivator in front. This person had soared through the air and instantly killed the blue-clad sovereign personage with one spear strike, snatching away Xiao Chen's target. This person exuded an aura that far surpassed that of a great perfection sovereign personage. The strong aura contained an even stronger sovereign personage will. A sharpness radiated from this person's face, deterring others from looking directly at him. A peak sovereign personage. This spearman before Xiao Chen was a peak sovereign personage. Xiao Chen recalled for a while and knew who this person was. The Ink Sea Cluster's Qiong. This person ranked 358th on the list that the little light figure gave Xiao Chen. He was a peak sovereign personage, and there was a portrait of him on it. Qiong held a black spear in his hand as he slowly collected the scattered faux god spirit jades in the air. However, his gaze remained fixed on Xiao Chen. Qiong's gaze contained strong pressure. Just a single glance was enough to make one feel an overwhelming pressure bearing down on them. Xiao Chen knew that this was the pressure from the difference in cultivation. Unfortunately, although Xiao Chen's cultivation was not high, his will of soul already rivaled that of a peak sovereign personage. Under the boundless pressure of the other party's aura, Xiao Chen's expression did not change as he calmly looked at the other party. Since coming out of the land of the Blood Moon, Xiao Chen had not met such a strong opponent before. Xiao Chen's breathing turned somewhat ragged. It was not nervousness but excitement. He discovered that he had started to like this secret realm. This was the place of battle that Sang mentioned. This is interesting. Brother Peach Blossom, this little fellow under you should quickly run. Otherwise, he will be killed. Sovereign Emperor Xing Ji's eyes lit up when he saw this scene. What a fellow! I finally met an opponent who can deal with you. The other sovereign emperors had noticed this scene long ago. This was truly interesting when facing a peak sovereign personage. The previously strong Xiao Chen had finally run into an existence that was not easy to offend. At this moment one could either fight or run. No matter what the choice was, one just had to be decisive. The worst thing to fear was hesitation, not knowing how to make a decision. Dang! Right after Sovereign Emperor Xing spoke, Xiao Chen stabbed the unsheathed tyrant saber into the ground in the light screen. Xiao Chen's battle hunger blazed like a fierce flame. Even through the light screen, everyone could feel his surging hot-bloodedness. What a fellow! He has a temper! The purple-haired old man could not help praising softly. Xiao Chen's decisive decision was simply delightful. Chapter 2094. Qiong was the top expert of the Ink Sea Cluster. He was 400 years old, and had already reached peak sovereign personage 100 years ago. He excelled at using the spear. When Qiong felt the battle hunger that erupted from Xiao Chen, he felt slightly surprised. Originally, he would not bother making a move against a small perfection sovereign personage. However, when his soul energy sensed the light of a faux god spirit jade on Xiao Chen's body and his ranking, his expression slowly turned grave. A 47-year-old small perfection sovereign personage, a follower of the Peach Blossom Sovereign Emperor, ranked 800. This was a demonic genius. Qiong was already 400 years old. He had seen all sorts of geniuses and outstanding talent. Many great perfection sovereign personages had already eliminated peak sovereign personages in this secret realm. Everyone in the secret realm knew this principle. The great perfection sovereign personages of the top 100 were even more horrifying than peak sovereign personages. Similarly, those who could make it into the top 1,000 as small perfection sovereign personages definitely had extremely strong trump cards. They could not be underestimated at all. Are you challenging me? Qiong asked as he looked at Xiao Chen. Xiao Chen's battle hunger soared. Naturally, the answer went without saying. He nodded slightly and did not say anything. This is the first stage of the test, and it is not time to show our true strength yet. The people in the top 100 are already avoiding fighting each other to prevent others from taking advantage of them. Think about it carefully. At this point in time, challenging me is not a wise decision. Qiong-ing showed a calm expression. Not only did he not show the arrogance of a peak sovereign personage facing a small perfection sovereign personage, but he also lowered his status and discussed things with Shao Qin. There is no way to withdraw a drawn saber. The battle hunger that has been ignited can only grow stronger. It cannot be extinguished. The other party's words made sense. If both sides ended up injured, it would be easy for others to take advantage of them. Only 10 days had passed. It was not time to go all out yet. However, right now, Shao Qin was not thinking about how to pass the test. He just wanted to fight once, to fight to his heart's content. Ink C clusters. Qiong-ing, make your move. You will regret it. Qiong-ying's eyes slowly turned cold. Previously, he had been as calm as still water. Now, he suddenly erupted with a terrifying chill. Thousands of cold lights appeared behind him like stars, densely packed and flickering, materializing a vast and boundless mysterious phenomenon. Boom! Amidst the explosion of thousands of icy stars, the long spear in his hand pierced towards Shao Qin at a speed faster than light. The spear moved, and the vast and boundless cold stars came pressing down, covering the sky and covering the earth. Shao Qin did not retreat. He took a step forward and pulled out the tyrant's saber stabbed into the ground. The instant Shao Qin drew the saber light, countless electric lights flickered in the sky. 3 layers of Tao might layered over each other behind him. A dragon roar came from Shao Qin's chest. Then, like a divine dragon, he charged forward fearlessly. Clang, clang, clang. The two of them manifested different auras as they fought against each other. Their figures flickered as they clashed with their weapons. In just a short moment, a battle of wits and courage had already passed 100 moves. Qiong-ying's eyes were always as calm as ice, and his feet were as steady as an iceberg. His every move was flawless and flawless. Shao Qin was obviously unable to remain calm in the face of someone whose cultivation was 2 realms higher than him. He could only go all out and strive to exert 110% or even 120% of his combat power with every move. When a person was at the edge of a cliff, he could only force himself to continuously outperform himself. However, Shao Qin's opponent did not need to do so. He only needed to remain calm and not make any mistakes, waiting for his prey to make a mistake. As the two fought, one was steady and the other ferocious. It looked like Shao Qin's might was vast, and his attacks were like the tide. His saber light flickered with an overwhelming aura. However, in reality, the spectating sovereign emperors knew that the one holding the upper hand was the Ink C cluster's spearman, Qiong-ing. It was impossible for one to always outperform oneself. There would always be mistakes. It was just a matter of size. If Shao Qin, who continued to erupt with power, could not break Qiong-ying's aura and gain a true advantage, the battle might end the instant Shao Qin made a mistake, ending in one move. Reckless fool. Sovereign Emperor Xing said indifferently from above desolate cities, starry heavens. In reality, most of the sovereign emperors felt the same way. However, they would not say it out loud. After all, no matter what, Shao Qin's courage was already worthy of praise. There was no need to ask for more. No matter what, the other party was a peak sovereign personage. Shao Qin did not have much chance of victory in the first place. Boom! Just at this moment, the situation between Shao Qin and Qiong-ing suddenly changed. Qiong-ing, who had been fighting steadily, suddenly erupted, bringing out 130% of his combat prowess. A cold light flashed in the starry heavens. Qiong-ing roared ferociously and thrust his spear forward, making the starry heavens flicker and look like they were burning. Damn it! Shao Qin's expression changed slightly. Before he could change his move, Qiong-ing forcefully broke his aura. The cold light at the tip of the spear burst forth with a light comparable to that of the sun. Whoosh! The spear got closer and closer. Xiao Chen's vision turned blurry. The light from the other party's spear tip was already so piercing that he could not see it clearly. Die! Qiong Ying's aura soared continuously as he took a ferocious step forward. With every step he took, 5 kilometers of ice appeared. A dazzling cold light burst out of Qiong Ying's body. Before the spear tip arrived, the vast aura forced Xiao Chen to continuously retreat. While at a disadvantage, the other party's peak sovereign personage Will of Soul pressed down. Qiong Ying wanted to kill Xiao Chen in one strike, not giving him any chance or hope of turning the situation around. Qiong Ying could not retreat any further. If he did, only death awaited him. Desperate situation. This was a desperate situation. Xiao Chen was at the edge of a cliff. If he took another step back, he would fall into a bottomless abyss. However, in this desperate situation, while Qiong Ying looked like he had a slim chance of survival, the other party was frantically erupting in order to kill him in one strike. His moves would not be as flawless as before. This was a desperate situation but also an opportunity. Should I use a secret technique? It is not time yet. Not to mention that the other party might not have a secret technique. Xiao Chen's purpose in this battle was not to win. It was to stabilize himself between life and death, to find the saber Dao that he once lost. Sun and moon shining together. The frantically retreating Xiao Chen suddenly stopped, and his sole mysterious phenomenon, sun and moon shining together, appeared. Instantly, the pressure that the other party's Will of Soul placed on Xiao Chen vanished. Flawless Dao, heartbreaking chop. Xiao Chen had not experienced the pain of a broken heart for a long time already. His old wounds had already healed. If his heart shattered again, the pain that it brought would be several times more intense than before. He had tried several times in the past, but he could not persevere. Xiao Chen made his choice. Ka-Xie. His heart shattered, and his complexion instantly paled. However, the instant his heart shattered, his physical body also brought out its boundless potential amid the boundless pain. At the crucial moment, Xiao Chen's momentum plummeted. Then, he suddenly erupted. A shattered bright moon soared out from his body. Clang! Xiao Chen swung his saber light, and a loud, melodious sound shook the surroundings. At the crucial moment, the tyrant saber's blade forcefully blocked the other party's resplendent sun-like sharp attack. The moment the saber light clashed, the ground of this special secret realm shattered. The two were forced to their limit. He blocked it. Outside the light screen, the many sovereign emperors watched this scene incredulously, feeling shocked. He actually blocked this spear strike? I thought that this spear strike would blast him into bits. I was even worried about whether the realm spirit could save him or not. To think that he blocked it. Inside the secret realm, Qiong Ying was similarly shocked. His thoughts raced as he quickly made a decision. He could not let the other party counterattack. He withdrew his spear and soared into the air. The countless burning cold stars in the sky instantly entered his body. Secret technique, boundless burning stars. This Qiong Ying was also a ruthless person. He knew that if he gave Xiao Chen a chance to counterattack after blocking this spear strike, he would be in for a hard time. Thus, he might as well use the advantage he still held to decide the victor in one move. Outside the light screen, the many sovereign emperors, who had just heaved a sigh of relief, had to hold their breaths again. The two's battle was simply extremely fascinating. Thousands of changes happened in an instant. One could not miss a single second. Qiong Ying, who soared into the air, let the boundless burning cold stars enter his body. Then, he thrust his spear forward with an even more ferocious aura. This thrust was boundlessly ferocious. The boundless aura seemed to sweep through the world, barring all life and leaving nothing behind. Rumble. Amid loud sounds, the ground around Xiao Chen continuously exploded. The shock waves surged out, shocking everyone. When the participants watching from afar saw this scene, they were startled. If they got struck by the shock waves, they would be severely injured even if they did not die. Xiao Chen, who was in the center of the storm, the kind of pressure he faced was easy to imagine. Whoosh! Holding the tyrant saber, Xiao Chen did not panic. He swept away the shock waves around him and pushed off with his feet, calmly retreating. What is he doing? Trying to flee. He is too naive. He has been smart all his life, but in the end, he made such a foolish mistake. Upon seeing this scene, several sovereign emperors nearly could not hold themselves back, wanting to jump up. At this crucial moment, Xiao Chen could decide the victor in one move, yet he still wanted to retreat. This was simply incomprehensible. Xiao Chen gently leaped up and retreated 50 kilometers, landing on a mound. As Xiao Chen retreated, Qiong Ying's spear strike, powered by the secret technique, was already twice as strong as before he retreated. In the next moment, Xiao Chen would have to face the peak strike of this secret technique. He could no longer retreat. This was the price of retreating earlier. However, retreating was not fleeing or giving up. It was just to bring out his strength more perfectly. If Xiao Chen had no fear in his heart and victory was in his grasp, what harm was there in taking a step back? Martial and soul as one, entering hell. The white-clad Xiao Chen showed a calm expression as he faced the spear strike that could tear him to shreds in the next moment. He calmly entered the state of martial and soul as one. While retreating, he silently circulated the Mahamaya abstinence violation saber technique and swung it. Whoosh! The swastika on Xiao Chen's forehead erupted, and an endless purgatory swallowed up Xiao Chen. Just as everyone was feeling puzzled, they saw the world suddenly lose all color, leaving only black and white. The white-clad Xiao Chen held an evil world-destroying dragon as he clashed with Qiong Ying's sure-kill spear strike in this black-and-white world. Martial and soul as one. This time, the sovereign emperors who could no longer hold back jumped up. They looked at the light screen with the starry heavens as the background in shock. This was a technique that even sovereign emperors dreamed of grasping. To think that it appeared in the hands of a small perfection sovereign personage. Chapter 2095. Martial and soul as one, the merging of one's martial Tao, allowed one to enter the perfect state that even sovereign emperors dreamed of. As Xiao Chen casually waved his hand, he could easily bring out any cultivation technique or martial technique to their limit. For example, Xiao Chen needed to put in a lot of effort before he could bring out 11% or 120% of his combat prowess. During this time, it was easy for him to expose his flaws, creating openings. However, after Xiao Chen entered martial and soul as one, he could easily bring out his limits with a casual strike, perfect and without any openings. More importantly, after Xiao Chen executed martial and soul as one, he could perfectly merge with the world. Every move and move contained the might of the world. The stronger one was, the more horrifying the might of the world that one could bring out after martial and soul as one. Just being able to casually bring out the limits of one's body was already enviable. When one executed a martial technique, one could bring out the heavenly might, inspiring envy. Very few sovereign emperors could grasp martial and soul as one. Of the more than 100 sovereign emperors present, only the Peach Blossom Sovereign Emperor could do so. Why did the Peach Blossom Sovereign Emperor receive so much respect? No one dared to underestimate him. Grasping martial and soul as one was one of the reasons. This Xiao Chen really hid himself deeply, the Peach Blossom Sovereign Emperor muttered. The Peach Blossom Sovereign Emperor muttered. He had not expected Xiao Chen to grasp martial and soul as one. Congratulations, Brother Peach Blossom. You accepted a good disciple. Sovereign Emperor Xing Gu looked at the Peach Blossom Sovereign Emperor enviously. He was very unconvinced of the Peach Blossom Sovereign Emperor, but he had to admit that this fellow's potential was indeed limitless. Even Sovereign Emperor Xing Gu had only touched the threshold of martial and soul as one in the past few years. This realm had to do with comprehension ability. Without sufficient comprehension ability, no matter how strong one's cultivation was, it would be pointless. You are too polite. The Peach Blossom's sovereign emperor replied politely. Ha 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 ha. Good, good, good. This Xiao Chen is incredible. Whether he can clear the first stage or not, headquarters will definitely pay attention to him. For so many years, our desolate city test zone has never sent a powerful demonic genius to the Heavenly Alliance. Peach Blossom, you brought me great honor. If I want to reward you, I will reward you now. The purple-haired old man laughed loudly, appearing in a good mood. He rejoiced and wanted to reward the Peach Blossom's sovereign emperor. The Peach Blossom's sovereign emperor quickly said, Lord Shangguan is too serious. We have not reached the final juncture yet. There is no need to rush. Let's see how far Xiao Chen can go in the end. If he can pass all the tests and join the Heavenly Alliance, it will not be too late to talk about rewards then. The purple-haired old man calmed down. As he stroked his beard, he smiled faintly and said, I was somewhat anxious. However, the number of cultivators in this Heavenly Alliance's test is the highest in history, exceeding 1 million. If it was in the past, I would have definitely passed the final test. However, it's hard to say whether I can pass the final test this time. However, it doesn't matter anymore. Someone who can comprehend spirit and martial arts as one has already proven his worth. The other superfactions are very interested in such geniuses. They absolutely cannot let go of such a good seedling. City Lord, look. The outcome has been decided. The reminder drew everyone's attention to the light screen 97. Many faux god spirit jades exploded in the sky above the light screen. Qiangying, who was holding the spear, slowly turned immaterial. In the final confrontation, he did not expect his opponent to enter the state of martial and spirit as one. It was a pity that if he had known that the other party had grasped martial and soul as one, he wouldn't have been so reckless. Fighting against Xiao Chen, who had grasped martial and soul as one, in a single move was probably what the other party wished for. If he changed his strategy and continued to compete in martial arts techniques, he still had a chance of winning. Congratulations, the lucky fellow who comprehended the fusion of martial arts and soul. The Ink Sea Cluster's spearman, Qiangying, said softly as he looked at Xiao Chen with some envy. The outcome had been decided. In this battle, Xiao Chen had learned many things. No matter what, this Qiangying before him was a worthy opponent. He said, Thank you. Will we have a chance to meet again? Qiangying said sullenly, In the past Heavenly Alliance's tests, there would be a loser's arena battle. If there is one this time, I believe we will definitely meet again. Boom. After saying that, Qiangying's figure vanished. He had been eliminated by Xiao Chen in Secret Realm 97. Xiao Chen stretched out his hand and waved. Then, he collected all the faux god spirit jades in the air. The number of faux god spirit jades on him immediately increased from more than 100,000 to 400,000. Congratulations, participant. You are currently ranked 287th in Secret Realm 97. On another note, among the top 300, you are the only participant who is over 100 years old but is not a great perfection sovereign personage. Xiao Chen called out the realm spirit and checked his ranking. Then, the little light figure's mechanical voice rang out, congratulating Xiao Chen. 287th was already an extremely high ranking. It would be difficult for Xiao Chen to raise it within a short time. Xiao Chen looked around and sensed many strong auras rushing over. In his current state, Xiao Chen was not suited to continue fighting experts. His figure flashed as he fled far away. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. Not long after Xiao Chen left, several figures appeared one after another. As these people looked at the damaged ground and the lingering battle marks in the air, they showed cautious expressions. What a fellow! He actually eliminated Qiangying. There is another competitor. We cannot underestimate this small perfection sovereign personage fellow. If I did not see wrong, he executed Martial and Soul as one earlier to defeat Qiong-ying. Qiong-ying's defeat is not undeserved. This serves as a reminder to us. Let's go. More people arrived one after another and quickly scattered. Now, all the peak experts in Secret Realm 97 knew that the white-clad bladesman named Shao Qin was already a strong competitor for the slot. Another 10 days passed. After the initial intense killing, the Secret Realm entered a relatively peaceful period. This was the case in the other Secret Realms as well. That was because there were less than 5,000 people left in the Secret Realm. Most of these people were familiar with each other, so they could avoid many fearless battles. When the weaker ones saw the experts, they would immediately turn and flee, not linger in a fight. These people only hoped to be alive before the Secret Realm ended so that they could keep their faux god spirit jades to exchange for treasures. When the true experts met, they would be even more cautious. They could not attack rashly at this moment. Otherwise, if both sides ended up severely injured, who knew how many pairs of eyes would be watching? During the 10 days, Shao Qin felt rather depressed. Right now, everyone in Secret Realm 97 knew the strength of the white-clad bladesman. The weaker ones did not dare to provoke him. The higher-ranked ones would not fight him at all. Sometimes, one day passed without even seeing a single person. The number of people who dared to fight with him could be counted on one hand. His ranking rose very slowly. Over the past 10 days, the number of participants Shao Qin killed was not even as many as the number of ferocious beasts he killed. However, Shao Qin also knew that this was just the calm before the storm. As the end of the Secret Realm approached, the most intense competition would erupt. Until the very last moment, all the rankings were fake. Even those in the top 100 would not be unable to hide their strength at the very last moment and have no choice but to show themselves. Suddenly, Shao Qin felt an extremely well-hidden soul energy sweep past him. He quickly put down what he was doing and started to track this soul energy without batting an eyelid. Shao Qin immediately felt somewhat shocked. The range of this soul energy was frighteningly vast. However, since this soul energy was not specifically targeting him, Shao Qin did not bother with it. At this moment, many eliminated participants had already appeared on the desolate city's starry heavens Dao platform. Lei Hao, whom the Peach Blossom Sovereign Emperor thought highly of, was among this group of eliminated participants. Lei Hao felt somewhat depressed. He had run into the strongest person in Secret Realm 8, Wu Meng, whom the others called the Saber Demon. Before Lei Hao could react, the other party instantly killed him with one saber strike and eliminated him. Lei Hao did not even manage to see the other party's appearance. He only saw a somewhat blurry face with a sinister smile. Damn it! I hope there will be a loser's bracket again. Otherwise, I will not have any chance at all. Let's see how little brother Shao Qin and little brother Yunfei are doing. Lei Hao sorted out his emotions and looked for Yunfei's ranking on the light screen for Secret Realm 98. Not bad. He was ranked 403rd. If he maintained this ranking and lasted until the last 3 days, he might make it into the top 100. Second brother is still second brother. The 13-wind controlling swords is indeed strong. Lei Hao laughed as he looked at the light screen for Secret Realm 98. When he glanced at the ranking, he was immediately stupefied. Peach Blossom City's Shao Qin was ranked 108. After a long time, Lei Hao said in a daze, "How did little brother Shao Qin make it all the way to the top 200? Only at this moment did Lei Hao notice that the eliminated participants around the Dao platform were all looking at the light screen for Secret Realm 97. Their expressions were similar to Lei Hao's, all of them showing shock. A 47-year-old participant actually made it into the top 200. Chapter 2096. I heard that an incredible demonic genius appeared in our desolate city test zone. He managed to make it into the top 200 in Secret Realm 97 at the age of 47. That is the truth. 10 days ago, I personally saw him kill a peak sovereign personage. He grasped martial and soul as one. You did not see it. Those sovereign emperors in the starry heavens jumped up in shock. Damn! Martial and soul as one. This is too demonic. He is only 47 years old. My goodness! Comparisons are odious. However, it is still somewhat difficult for him to make it into the top 100. This test is simply too difficult. There are more than 1 million participants. This is the most intense test in the Heavenly Alliance's history. We can still look forward to it. After all, he came out of our desolate city test zone. I think that City Lord Shangguan is very happy. Who knows, if his results are better, we might even be rewarded. Right. There are still 10 more days. There is still a chance. When Lei Hao heard the discussions around him, he slowly revealed a smile after his shock. His brother really became famous now. He had gained some face for the Peach Blossom Sovereign Emperor. Even though he had been eliminated, his gloominess had lessened by a lot. Time passed very quickly. In the blink of an eye, another 7 days had passed. Only 2 days remained in the first stage. At this moment, many secret realms finally erupted with the final decisive battle after a long period of peace. Everyone who had a chance to make it into the top 100 went even crazier, frantically fighting for foe god Spirit Jade. At this point, if they still did not fight, they would not have another chance. The final madness officially began. A reign of terror spread throughout every secret realm. This was unavoidable in Secret Realm 97 as well. Congratulations to participant Xiaochen. You have risen to the 178th rank in Secret Realm 97. Congratulations to participant Xiaochen. You have risen to the 176th rank in Secret Realm 97. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. Without any warning, Xiao Chen's ranking jumped from 180 to 170. However, Xiao Chen's foe god Spirit Jades did not increase. He did not kill any other participants either. Xiao Chen, who was preparing to move and do his best, looked at the little light figure in confusion. There must be a mistake. My foe god Spirit Jades did not increase. Please do not doubt Realm Spirit's words. Congratulations, examinee Xiao Chen, your ranking has risen to 165. The mechanical voice of the little light figure did not fluctuate in the slightest as it calmly narrated. Not good. Someone had started a massacre. The examinees in front of him were continuously killed and eliminated. His ranking was passively rising. Xiao Chen's expression changed slightly. This was not a good thing. There were no weaklings in front of him. More than a dozen people were eliminated so quickly. What kind of enemy did they encounter? Just as Xiao Chen was feeling bewildered, he noticed that there were many candidates fleeing into the distance with fear on their faces. Xiao Chen was puzzled and hurriedly stepped forward to stop one of them. Brother, what's going on? Why is everyone fleeing? Scram! Don't block my way. That person threw a palm strike at Xiao Chen, trying to push Xiao Chen back. When Xiao Chen received this palm strike, he revealed a startled expression as he recognized Xiao Chen. Sorry, it turns out to be the white-robed bladesman, Xiao Chen. Sorry for the offense earlier. After this person recognized Xiao Chen, his attitude immediately became much better. However, he still occasionally looked back, appearing somewhat anxious. What happened? Did a ferocious beast appear? That person quickly replied, It's even more terrifying than a ferocious beast. The top 10 participants of our secret realm split the participants for the overall ranking. They've divided up the participants of the entire mystic realm, and the area we're in right now is the territory of the number 1 Gong Liangyu. Don't you think it's scary? I'll be leaving first. You should leave quickly as well. Although the other places are also filled with the top 10 participants, it is at least much better than facing Gong Liangyu. After that person spoke, he immediately fled, leaving in a hurry. After that person went far away, just as he was about to vanish from Xiao Chen's sight, His body suddenly exploded, filling the air with faux god spirit jades. Whoosh! Shao Qin vaguely saw a blue figure waving its hand and collecting the faux god spirit jades before disappearing. Shao Qin vaguely felt that the other party had glanced at him. With just one glance, Shao Qin felt immense pressure, like he was imprisoned. Realm Spirit, what's going on? Shao Qin quickly asked, feeling some lingering fear as he summoned out the little light figure. The little light figure answered mechanically, "Those who can enter the top 100 of the overall ranking in the first stage will have the advantage of being seated in the second stage." How come I don't know about this? Only the top 10 participants of the various secret realms can receive the information I send them. No wonder. When Shao Qin heard that, he understood. No wonder he felt an extremely vast soul energy probing the entire secret realm. It turned out that 10 days ago, the top 10 participants had started discussing their respective territories. This was really not good. Those who could be ranked in the top 10 were definitely examinees who had an overwhelming advantage in their respective secret realms. If not for the Realm Spirit's reminder, the top 10 participants might not have erupted in advance for the sake of preserving their strength. For the other examinees, the pressure on them would be much less. However, now that they knew about seeded participants in the second stage, they would definitely fight for it with all their might. This would simply be an apocalyptic disaster for the other participants. With the meticulous planning of these people, the participants below the top 10 became lambs to be slaughtered. The expressions of the many sovereign emperors in desolate cities, starry heavens changed somewhat. The expressions of the many eliminated participants on the Dao platform changed dramatically. As they watched the top 10 participants being slaughtered on the light screen, they felt that this was simply too cruel. "Lord Shangguan, what's going on?" A sovereign emperor could not help asking the purple-haired old man. With this, the difficulty of passing the first stage increased several-fold. Furthermore, it became even crueler and cold-blooded. The purple-haired old man replied sullenly, "I just received the news. This is a last-minute decision by the Heavenly Alliance. There are simply too many participants this time. The Heavenly Alliance needs to use a stricter method to select participants. Otherwise, it will still be the same as before, unable to keep up with the other super factions. When the number of participants in the various secret realms reaches 100, the first stage of the test will end early. We can only wish them good luck now." The top 10 participants of the various secret realms were all incredibly strong existences. They had a suppressive advantage over the other participants. From the light screen, it could be seen that the top 10 candidates had all been eliminated. When the other participants erupted with their full power, it was simply a massacre. There were few exceptions. The number of participants in the various secret realms rapidly decreased. This was very scary and unbearable to watch. This was too cruel. The number of participants in this Heavenly Alliance's test exceeded 1 million. This was already the most difficult part. Now, the Heavenly Alliance suddenly made such a move. This caught everyone off guard and was not easy to deal with. "City Lord, things are not good. The strongest participant in Secret Realm 97, Gong Liangyu, has taken over Shao Chen's territory." Gong Liangyu? The Peach Blossom Sovereign Emperor frowned slightly. He had an impression of this person. Gong Liangyu was the disciple of an old friend. At the age of 380, Gong Liangyu had already advanced to peak sovereign personage at the age of 100. His veritable essence energy, will, martial techniques, and various other aspects had already reached the limits of a sovereign personage. Gong Liangyu lacked only one fortuitous encounter to undergo his tribulation at any time and become a divine Vane Realm sovereign emperor. Gong Liangyu was far stronger than the previous Qiong. Even if Shao Qin grasped martial and soul as one, he would not be a match for Gong Liangyu. Gong Liangyu was too young. Gong Liangyu had been a peak sovereign personage for 280 years. If Gong Liangyu fought with Shao Qin, Gong Liangyu would hold a huge advantage in all aspects. If Xiao Chun had another 50 years, he might not have feared Gong Liangyu. However, now, no matter what, Gong Liangyu was Xiao Chen's senior. When Gong Liangyu advanced to sovereign personage, Xiao Chen might not have been born yet. It would not be fair for the two to fight. The Peach Blossom Sovereign Emperor said sullenly, "If you run into Gong Liangyu, your chances of advancing are too slim. This Heavenly Alliance's test is too cruel. Even I cannot bear to watch." Old Shui sighed softly. How unfortunate. The Heavenly Alliance's last-minute change is too fatal. When the top 10 participants fought for the Foe God Spirit Jades with their full power, some of the participants did not even have time to be rescued by the realm's spirit and died in the secret realm. Such a situation was very rare in the past examinations. However, it happened in nearly every secret realm now. The eliminated people on the Dao platform suddenly rejoiced, rejoicing that they were eliminated early. The participants who lasted until the last 2 days were simply too miserable. Chapter 2097. Inside the Secret Realm. Xiao Qin opened his heavenly eye and looked around, taking in the scene for 500,000 kilometers around. Gong Liangyu. Xiao Qin finally saw this person clearly. Gong Liangyu wore azure-colored profound robes with threads of golden thread. He looked elegant and graceful, noble, and extraordinary. This was a massacre, a one-sided massacre. After Gong Liangyu chased after the other participants who wanted to flee, they would lose in 3 moves at most. Was this exaggerated? It was not. However, when one's strength reached a certain level, one would have a suppressive advantage. Take Xiao Chen for example. If the other small perfection sovereign personages stood before him, they would die within 10 moves. Even a regular great perfection sovereign personage would end up getting crushed. However, the roles were reversed. As a sovereign personage, this Gong Liangyu stood even higher than Xiao Chen. This Gong Liangyu was not just a simple peak sovereign personage. The combat prowess that he displayed far surpassed that of other peak sovereign personages. Even that Xiong might not last more than 10 moves if Gong Liangyu unleashed his full power without holding anything back. Cultivation realm was only one of the factors that measured a cultivator's strength. Even if one's cultivation was the same, there might be a huge difference in strength. As Xiao Chun watched a participant getting massacred, he felt a little emotional. At the same time, he thought of a countermeasure. Under the observation of the heavenly eye, the faster those who fled, the faster they died. Gong Liangyu's movement technique was extremely strange. He was always one step faster than others, catching up to the fleeing people and mercilessly killing them. What movement technique does he cultivate? He is so fast that it is somewhat scary. Xiao Qin frowned slightly, feeling that this was not easy to deal with. Being in the range of Gong Liangyu's massacre inspired despair. If Xiao Qin faced the other top 10 experts, the situation might be much better. I'm not running anymore. I'll fight it out with him. Xiao Chen's heavenly eye saw that some people could not flee, so they roared and gathered 10 odd people to charge at Gong Liangyu. They should have done this long ago. Instead of running, they might as well counterattack. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. When one was in despair, the potential that burst out of one's body would terrify even oneself. With nowhere to run, the 10 odd sovereign personages turned and charged at Gong Liangyu at the same time. There were all sorts of killing moves, continuous mysterious phenomena, and boundless Dao might. Xiao Chen, who was watching with his heavenly eye, felt that all these attacks had sealed off all the possible escape routes for Gong Liangyu. Facing more than 10 killer moves in the sky and on the ground, Gong Liangyu showed no expression as he stretched out his right hand. This was the first time Xiao Chen had seen Gong Liangyu's hand clearly. It was as white as jade and was even more beautiful than a woman's hand. Rumble! All sorts of killing moves arrived. The world changed color from the desperate counterattacks of these 10 odd sovereign personages. All sorts of phenomena appeared one after another. This battle represented the peak attack of these candidates. At this point, He could no longer hold back. If it was Xiao Chen facing such an attack, he would temporarily retreat, because there was no need to fight against a group of life-saving killer moves. The examinees who made a move only hoped to force Gong Liangyu back, not to win. He only hoped that he could force the other party to retreat and give himself a chance to escape. However, Gong Liangyu remained expressionless. He spread open his jade-white palm and grabbed. Then, something strange happened. Many mysterious phenomena in the sky fell down like meteors. The weapons in many people's hands even fell to the ground with a schwa sound. The world spun, and the targets of many people's killing moves changed for no reason, landing on the ground. That space seemed to have become incomparably heavy. Countless killer moves were instantly broken by Gong Liangyu. The Earth Great Tao, this is a Tao domain. Xiao Chen's expression changed slightly. He thought to himself, these people are all going to die. The 10-odd sovereign personages paled in fright. They immediately turned around and fled. However, they were horrified to discover that the sovereign personages had already fled. However, they were horrified to discover that while they were in the air, they felt like their feet had sunk into a swamp. They had clearly brought out their movement techniques at full power, but they were like clowns swimming slowly in the air. Gong Liangyu's expression remained expressionless as he flicked his finger. A thick strand of black sword qi tore through the air. The sword intent was dense, and the sword aura was vast. Everywhere it passed, the other examinees died on the spot. Whoosh! 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 Heavy rain fell from the sky. It was the faux god spirit jades continuously falling. With a wave of his hand, Gong Liangyu collected all the faux god spirit jades in the air. Xiao Chen's expression remained calm, as if he had just done something insignificant. Xiao Chen withdrew his heavenly eye and closed his eyes. After resting for a while, he opened them again. Xiao Chen could not think about leaving. The faster he went, the more likely Gong Liangyu would target him. The other party grasped the Earth Great Tao and a strange movement technique. If Gong Liangyu targeted him, there was no hope of escaping. Xiao Chen summoned out the little light figure and looked at his ranking. It had already jumped to 130th rank. If one could understand the meaning behind this ranking, they would be as startled as Xiao Chen. There was no point in thinking too much. Since Xiao Chen could not leave, he would just fight with his full power. Xiao Chen had more than 600,000 faux god spirit jades on him. For the sake of the overall ranking, the other party would not let him off. Dang! Xiao Chen stabbed the tyrant saber into the ground beside him. Then, he sat down cross-legged and closed his eyes to adjust his mental state. He continuously copied the 10,000 dragons picture in his mind, storing up power and waiting to take action. Right now, Xiao Chen no longer thought about the Heavenly Alliance's test. He only hoped to go all out before an expert like Gong Liangyu, not leaving any regret. Victory or defeat did not matter. As long as he did not get defeated in 10 moves and get eliminated before he could bring out anything, it would be too regrettable. Xiao Chen only wanted to fight to his heart's content, not leaving any regrets. At Desolate City's Starry Heavens Tao platform, Yun Fei appeared in the crowd with a slightly pale complexion. At the very last moment, he had managed to charge into the top 100 after much difficulty. In the end, he ran into the top 10 of Secret Realm 98, who did not give him a chance to execute the 13-wind controlling sword. "Second brother, come over here." It was Lei Hao's voice. Yun Fei looked in the direction of the voice and saw Lei Hao waving at him from not far away. "You got eliminated as well?" Yun Fei asked as he looked at Lei Hao after walking over. He could not help feeling even more depressed. At the same time, he blamed himself. Both of them were eliminated. It was over. Peach Blossom City's people did not even pass the first stage. Lei Hao consoled, "Don't blame yourself too much. This Heavenly Alliance's test is too ridiculous. It is good that you survived and got eliminated. Furthermore, we still have a chance to enter the loser's arena. Don't be too disheartened." Loser's Arena? The Loser's Arena was even crueler. In previous years, the Loser's Arena had tens of thousands of people fighting in a chaotic battle royale. The remaining people would go on to the next round. This time, it would probably be a chaotic battle royale with 1 million people fighting for 100 spots. Yunfei could only think about it. The requirements for strength and luck were too high. How is little brother Xiaochen? Why don't I see him? Yunfei looked around and did not see Xiaochen on the Dao platform. He immediately felt somewhat worried. Several people had died in this Heavenly Alliance's test. Lei Hao pointed to a light screen and said, "Look over there. Little brother Xiaochen has gained glory for master this time. Even Lord Shangguan is full of praise for him. I heard that he grasped martial and soul as one. He even defeated a peak sovereign personage and made it into the top 210 days ago." When Yunfei heard that, he could not help feeling startled. When he fought with Xiaochen, although he knew that Xiaochen held back some trump cards, Yunfei knew that he had grasped martial and soul as one. However, Lei Hao thought to himself, even if Xiaochen brought out all his trump cards, he should be undefeatable. Unexpectedly, Xiaochen was so ferocious, grasping martial and soul as one. Lei Hao sighed softly. Unfortunately, he is in Gong Liangyu's range. He is probably going to enter the Loser's Arena like us. Is this Gong Liangyu very strong? Very strong. He is on the same level as that Wu Meng in my secret realm. He was already a peak sovereign personage 200 years ago. Furthermore, he grasped the Earth Dao domain. Little brother Xiaochen is in trouble. Lei Hao hoped that Xiaochen could defeat this Gong Liangyu. However, reality told him that it would be too difficult. This Gong Liangyu had reached the limits of a sovereign personage in every aspect. Furthermore, he grasped a Dao domain. Based on the mysterious movement technique Gong Liangyu executed, he clearly had a fortuitous encounter and possessed great luck. It seems like he is targeting Xiaochen. Yunfei's expression changed slightly. Then, he saw an azure figure approaching from afar on the light screen for number 97. Immediately, the nearly 10,000 eliminated people on the desolate City Dao platform focused their gazes on the light screen for number 97. Even the many sovereign emperors stopped chatting at this moment and looked over with grave expressions. After all, Xiaochen came from the Peach Blossom Sovereign Emperor's faction. He represented their desolate city test zone. No matter what, they hoped that Xiaochen would perform well. Chapter 2098. Gong Liangyu frowned slightly. His 10 moves were each more ferocious than the last, not holding back at all. Xiaochen's heart was pure, straightforward, and magnanimous. As expected, the Earth Dao domain had already spread out while Xiaochen spoke. Boundless heaven and earth, body as a cauldron, sharp spirit finger. Just as that strand of sword qi was about to arrive, Xiaochen calmly swung his tyrant saber. When Xiaochen opened his eyes, an azure figure slowly descended at the limits of his vision. This scene frightened the onlookers. Their hearts skipped a beat. It's over. Xiaochen, who had seen Gong Liangyu make a move before, had already expected all this. No one had ever seen or heard of Xiaochen's method of blocking the other party's attack, startling everyone. City Lord Shangguan frowned slightly, thinking about something. Gong Liangyu's expression did not change. He remained silent as his figure flashed forward and threw another palm strike. Xiaochen showed a cold and expressionless expression as he walked over step by step. His aura, which had already fallen, slowly soared as he walked. A strong wind howled and the sky changed color. When the saber and sword qi clashed, a dazzling and resplendent light burst out, instantly illuminating the light screen for Secret Realm 97 in a piercing white. Gong Liangyu's blurry figure gradually turned clearer in Xiaochen's vision. Finally, he landed 1 kilometer away. Xiaochen immediately felt heavy pressure. The spreading Earth Dao domain restricted his movement technique. When Xiaochen's palm strike landed, the layered mountain images gathered into a heavy and ancient stone stele. Then, it smashed down with absolute pressure. The strong contrast made Gong Liangyu look even stronger. Xiao Chen not only looked miserable but also humiliated. On the light screen for Secret Realm 97, with the starry heavens as the background, Gong Liangyu stood upright with his hands behind his back. His long hair fluttered in the wind. Only Xiao Chen's head remained on the barren ground in front of him. Kill. Xiao Chen frowned slightly. At such a close distance, he felt the horror of this sword chi. Xiao Chen was not wrong. He would not lower his head or bend his back. No matter how difficult it was, he did not feel fear or regret. 200 years ago, Xiao Chen was already a peak sovereign personage. His strength went without saying. The eliminated cultivators on the desolate City Dao platform couldn't bear to watch such a humiliating scene. Why was this child so persistent? All the other candidates in this area had already been eliminated, leaving only Xiao Chen. But even so, he still felt pressured when facing them. That deadly sword light was already less than 10 meters away from Xiao Chen. However, not only did Xiao Chen not move, he even sheathed his saber. Even those sovereign emperors had grave expressions on their faces. They stared unblinkingly at the light screen 97, not willing to miss even the slightest detail. Even in such a situation, he still wanted to deal a fatal blow to Xiao Chen and not give him any chance to turn things around. Primordial divine eyes, bloodline activation, life ceaseless, battle ceaseless. The purple-haired old man also couldn't help but praise. Gong Liangyu flicked his finger, and a strand of dense sword chi shot towards Xiao Chen. However, there was no fear in his heart. At most, he would just lose. Who could remain undefeated in this world? One only needed to be fearless and fight with one's full power. This move was too exquisite. Gong Liangyu showed everyone how to perfectly merge the Earth Dao domain with the sword chi. However, this move perfectly demonstrated what it meant to multitask, leaving no way out. Without overthinking, Xiao Chen sheathed his saber. Then, he merged all his veritable essence energy, vital chi, and soul energy into one, silently circulating them. When the many eliminated cultivators on the desolate City Dao platform saw this scene, their hearts clenched. Xiao Chen drew the tyrant saber in the time it took for a spark to fly. A melodious saber hum ignited the hot-bloodedness in Xiao Chen's body. In that instant, a boundless battle hunger soared into the sky. The scene reappeared. Xiao Chen held his saber with one hand, dressed in white. His complexion was slightly pale, and dragon images circled him. His aura did not seem affected at all. Clearly, he was not injured. Good! When everyone saw Gong Liangyu make his move, they all sucked in a deep breath. Gong Liangyu could not be bothered to waste time. While his aura reached its peak, he threw a palm strike with his left hand. Then, he placed his right hand on the back of his left hand. Fight! What was even more unbearable was that even at this moment, Gong Liangyu still did not show mercy. Gong Liangyu found this slightly strange. A complicated expression flashed in his eyes, containing envy and disappointment. He said softly, "Who would underestimate a sovereign personage who grasped martial and soul as one? I can feel your surging battle hunger and the hot-bloodedness burning in your body. This mental state and will are truly rare." Xiao Chen faced Gong Liangyu calmly. Then, he said calmly, "This should be the first thing you said in the past 3 days. It looks like you still think highly of me. Many thanks. However, there is no need to pressure me with words. They are ineffective against me." Bang! Inside the secret realm, Xiao Chen lay on the ground with only his head remaining. His eyes were as clear as water and as bright as gems. From the start to the end, he did not show any fear or weakness. Xiao Chen smacked his left hand above his head. The instant he turned into a cauldron, he blocked the other party's sword chi and the stone steel image's suppression. "Did you block it?" Shao Chun perfectly merged with the Earth Great Tao. There was nothing fancy about it, just a heavy and imposing aura. It's coming! Dragon might and Tao might merged into Shao Chun's aura and erupted. Shao Chun focused all his attention. How can it be like this? He actually wasted it at the crucial moment. Naturally, Lord Shangguan hoped that Shao Chun could go further away from such an outstanding talent, gaining some face for Desolate City's test zone and Shangguan Guan. The most helpless thing was that Shao Chun remained in the other party's Earth Great Tao. His movement technique was restricted, and he could bring out less than 80% of his strength. Gong Liangyu looked at Shao Chun expressionlessly. He said indifferently, "You are rather smart. You are not like the others, jumping around, knowing that the faster you flee, the faster you die. You are also not like the other fools, taking the initiative to seek death. I am honored to tell you that you will be the last person I will kill in Secret Realm 97. However, since Shao Chun was here, there was no need to complain. This was the path he chose. Even if he had to kneel, he had to persevere. He would not lower his head or bend his back. Even if someone trampled him into the dust, he would not give up on his perseverance. It's over." The horrifying explosive force did not even give Shao Chun time to react. Gong Liangyu's palm wind slammed him into the ground. When the two palms layered over each other, the might that erupted from this palm strike surpassed the previous 9 moves combined. "I can still breathe. Why do you think it's over?" Only Gong Liangyu's head remained on the ground. Only the Peach Blossom Sovereign Emperor could guess that Shao Chun, a powerful demonic genius, had been chased out of the Divine Dragon Empire in a humiliating manner. From the start to the end, Shao Chun had been suppressing his anger. He wanted to prove himself, to return to the Divine Dragon Empire. Whoosh! No one understood why Shao Chun was so insistent. Not only did Shao Chun block this sword strike, but he did so without getting injured at all. This immediately elicited cheers. This surpassed many people's expectations. Gong Liangyu's sword qi looks casual. In reality, every strand of it is his full power. The Earth Great Tao is naturally dense and dense. It looks ordinary, but in reality, it is boundlessly vast, as heavy as a mountain. Almost all of the candidates were defeated by a wisp of his sword qi. Bang! Gong Liangyu did not give Shao Chun any chance to catch his breath. In the next second, he retreated and arrived before Shao Chun. "I blocked it. Unfortunately, the more it is like this, the more serious I have to deal with it, the faster you will lose. It is destined that things will not go as you wish." After 10 moves, Shao Chun's aura reached its peak. After that, his aura could no longer rise and slowly stabilized. It was like now, even though Shao Chun knew that the Heavenly Alliance's test was unfair, he could not do anything about it. Boom! The Realm Spirit had not forcefully sent Shao Chun away yet, which meant that he still had the strength to fight. If not for the Tao domain spreading out on the ground, the might of this palm strike could have reduced the land for 500,000 kilometers around to nothing. Whoosh! This Gong Liangyu is really not giving him a way out. Fortunately, this beautiful light lasted for only an instant before quickly fading. However, others could roughly guess what had happened. Shao Chun was a rare demonic genius. Furthermore, he happened to come from the Desolate City test zone. When Shao Chun stubbornly used the Supreme Dragon Fist to defeat Qin Ming, who used the Emperor Dragon Fist, in Divine Dragon City, he had already expressed his stance. Shao Chun's palm technique looked simple, but it was heavy and dense. It was like he had thrown out many tall mountains. The dragon race bloodline in Shao Chun's body made him yearn for the empire that chased him out. Shao Chun was not done yet. At this moment, his left hand moved as well. He held 2 fingers together and formed a sword light that pierced into Shao Chun's face. Right after Gong Liangyu spoke, he ferociously raised his hand. That jade-white hand looked even more beautiful at close range. This was a hand that countless people envied. It was a hand of uncanny workmanship, meticulously carved yet natural. This is the final move. I'll send you out. Xiao Chen's hand slowly turned golden. The Tao platform set the place abuzz. Everyone felt incredibly anxious, eager to know what would happen next. Was there a need to risk his life in a battle that he was sure to lose? Could he not admit defeat? Retreat, Gong Liangyu said indifferently. Then, he stepped forward and stomped, trying to crush Xiao Chen's head. The most crucial thing was the sword light that Xiao Chen's left hand had pierced into Xiao Chen's face. Sensing that he could not get close at all, Gong Liangyu decisively scattered the stone steel and the sword qi before retreating. No matter how difficult it was, he would persevere on the path he chose. In the future, he would use his own method to return to the empire and prove himself. He is not dead yet? A sovereign emperor on the throne sighed softly. Clearly, this Gong Liangyu did not want to waste time with Xiao Chen. He used his full power, not underestimating Xiao Chen at all. Pu Ci. Xiao Chen was only 47 years old. He had advanced to sovereign personage only a few years ago. His innate disadvantage already sealed his fate. If Xiao Chen tried to dodge this sword qi with his movement technique, he would definitely die. Xiao Chen blocked this attack with some difficulty. Blood leaked out of a corner of his lips as he took 3 steps back. This works? Xiao Chen slowly stood up. Gong Liangyu's words contained absolute confidence. However, the deeper meaning was somewhat terrifying. Xiao Chen, who was recuperating with his eyes closed, felt a strong aura slowly approaching him from afar. Amid the chain of palm images, Xiao Chen occasionally switched to a sword technique to attack, which was even more crafty and sinister. When Xiao Chen's veritable essence energy, soul energy, and vital qi all merged into one and filled his entire body, he stretched out 2 fingers. To everyone's surprise, he used these 2 fingers to clamp down on that sword light. In mere moments, 10 moves passed. Xiao Chen's white robes were already stained with blood. His wounds were a ghastly sight, inspiring heartache. Xiao Chen did not bother saying anything. His coldness and ruthlessness inspired despair. Everyone who saw him felt a chill run down their spines, feeling like they had fallen into an ice cave. The descending stone steel thoroughly suppressed Xiao Chen. If not for his innate divine body, his physical body would have been crushed. Everyone felt heartache. Even the purple-haired old man, who had lived for tens of thousands of years, felt his eyes moisten. Palm strike after palm strike, Gong Liangyu continuously sent out palm strike after palm strike. With each palm strike, the scene on the light screen shook for a long time. This battle had been unfair from the start. Gong Liangyu, who had lived for more than 400 years, had already reached the limits of a sovereign personage in all aspects. Chapter 2099. With a thought, Xiao Chen extended his hand, and a vast, boundless, blurry picture of 10,000 dragons soaring in the sky appeared. Gong Liangyu, who felt that it was over, relaxed for a moment. His perfect aura revealed some openings. Such a scene was very exciting, making one's blood boil. Everyone in Secret Realm 97, no matter where they were, could see this shocking scene when they raised their head. The moment Xiao Chen activated his bloodline, it instantly blasted apart the earth Dao domain that covered the ground. At the same time, 3 Dao might layered over Xiao Chen's body, working with his bloodline power. One could see a trace of scarlet shadow coalescing in the thousands of sword images. The rubble, and dust from the explosion piled up like a mountain. Gong Liangyu was in there, his status unknown. However, this thought only lasted for an instant before Gong Liangyu's expression changed. The surging dragon might gathered on Xiao Chen's body, causing Xiao Chen's aura to erupt again, continuously climbing. Even a fool could tell that this was not the right time to clash head-on with Xiao Chen. Gong Liangyu felt sullen and upset. However, his shocking rationality suppressed all rash actions, remaining incredibly calm. Right now, if Xiao Chen did not admit defeat and let the realm spirit send him out, he might die to this 10,000 swords returning to the heart. After awakening the blue dragon divine body, Shao Chen could endure even more of the ancient energy from his great desolate Ian bloodline. Is that it? Shao Chen roared, and the berserk dragons quietened down. The earlier ferocity and berserk instantly vanished. Gong Liangyu had not expected his sure kill trump card to be so useless before Shao Chen. By the time Gong Liangyu recovered his wits, the picture suddenly descended and suppressed him. The golden light in Shao Chen's eyes vanished completely. Dressed in white, he fell to the ground somewhat weakly. Although this was his first time encountering the Earth Dao domain, Shao Chen was more than 70% confident of breaking this Earth Dao domain. How can it be like this? Boom, 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 boom. Heaven's unfairness. Only I am supreme. It wouldn't be an exaggeration to say that the scene in the secret realm was earth-shattering. The examinees on this side were all scared silly. A foot as large as a mountain trampled him down. Kacha! Kacha! Shao Chen crushed the image of the mountain behind him as it rose up from the ground. When the scroll was unfurled, the entire sky was filled with dazzling golden light. Gong Liangyu did not panic in the face of danger. His figure moved backward, trying to buy himself some time to come up with a plan. Shao Chen snorted coldly. Buddhist divine ability, Dharma world. Seeing that Shao Chen had no intention of admitting defeat, Gong Liangyu's eyes flashed with hostility as he spoke coldly. The reason why it had never been broken. Shao Chen broke the restrictions of Gong Liangyu's Earth Dao domain on his movement technique. Shao Chen instantly executed the Supreme Dragon Fist's leaderless dragons. Immediately, 10,000 dragons soared into the air behind him, roaring. Furthermore, with the support of Shao Chen's bloodline, the might of the Supreme Dragon Fist reached a horrifying level. Anyone would feel unbearable pain as Shao Chen stomped down. An ordinary sovereign personage would probably turn into meat paste with one stomp. In 3 seconds, Shao Chen stomped a total of 100 times. After 100 stomps, Dharma World came to an end. After enduring the final strike of the Supreme Dragon Fist, Gong Liangyu, who had been suppressed for a long time, erupted. A terrifying aura soared up from his body, and the image of an ancient mountain rose up from the ground behind him. Gong Liangyu showed doubt for the first time since the fight started. He was stunned for a moment. Gong Liangyu brought out his Earth Dao domain to its limit. However, just as the mountain was about to soar into the clouds, oh no! The might of this secret technique already rivals that of an ordinary strike of a divine Vane Realm sovereign emperor. Congratulations to all the participants. The 100 spots for Secret Realm 97 have been decided. Those who survive will be qualified to participate in the second round of the test. Gong Liangyu felt suspicious in his heart. Did Shao Chen's attack end here? Just as Gong Liangyu's foot was about to stomp down, Shao Chen's great desolate Ian bloodline instantly activated. Gong Liangyu's expression did not change. He moved his hands unhurriedly, sending out dense sword images. In that case, let's fight to our heart's content, fighting to the death. He successfully practiced the Supreme Dragon Fist. Why did Ancestor Dragon City not take him in? With the support of the 10,000 dragons picture, although Gong Liangyu fought steadily, he was still forced back step by step. This was a scene that no one expected. The strongest expert in Secret Realm 97, Gong Liangyu, slaughtered all the participants within 500,000 kilometers. This is the Supreme Dragon Fist. Gong Liangyu's expression did not change, but his murderous intent soared in his heart. I'll let you be arrogant for now. Let's see how long you can erupt for. He could no longer tolerate this kind of entanglement with Shao Chen, a 47-year-old sovereign personage. Not admitting defeat? In that case, die. This was definitely a trump card that Gong Liangyu planned to use in the second stage of the test. Gong Liangyu, who originally thought that he would be severely injured, executed his killing move the instant Shao Chen's Dharma world came to an end. Amidst the loud noise, one mountain peak after another was snapped in half. The scene on the light screen trembled endlessly. One could only see Xiao Chen's gargantuan feet descend mercilessly over and over again. Bang! The spectators were flabbergasted, feeling incredibly shocked. After receiving this punch, Gong Liangyu felt his internal organs crack as he got knocked back 500,000 kilometers. 10,000 tall mountain peaks rising from the ground. Gong Liangyu continuously shattered the dragon images flying at him. Because time was limited, Gong Liangyu needed to wait for the best opportunity to make a move. However, Gong Liangyu was too unfathomable. The thousands of sword lights filled with scarlet images bounced back with tinkling sounds, unable to break this painting. The universe origin true flame and the heavenly snow divine flame turned into a pair of yin and yang fish, chasing each other in the starry heavens of the secret realm. The reversal of the situation on the light screen for Secret Realm 97 excited all the participants and the sovereign emperors in the entire desolate city. The thousands of dragon images looked solid, carrying Xiao Chen's hot-bloodedness and pride as they charged endlessly at Gong Liangyu like a torrential storm. The Supreme Dragon Fist was one of the 3 most ferocious offensive fist techniques in the world. Xiao Chen could not clash head-on with it. A resplendent and dazzling sun-like light burst out from Gong Liangyu's chest. In the next moment, thousands of sword lights shot out from his chest. Even though Xiao Chen already held a huge advantage, he did not relax at all. He was cold and emotionless, inspiring despair. Gong Liangyu was forced back by Xiao Chen. After enduring the full set of the Supreme Dragon Fist, Gong Liangyu, who felt incredibly sullen, seized the perfect opportunity after Xiao Chen finished executing his fist lights to erupt with power. A painting appeared in Xiao Chen's hand. Then, he unhurriedly tossed it into the air. However, Xiao Chen forced Gong Liangyu to execute it in this stage of the test. Heaven Dragon regrets. Commanding the dragons. A vast and boundless Taiji yin-yang flame diagram covered the starry heavens, spreading throughout the secret realm. Furthermore, Gong Liangyu was forced into such a situation. He did not dare to imagine how the powerhouses of his test zone would view him. When Gong Liangyu executed the Supreme Dragon Fist smoothly, blood leaked out of a corner of his lip. He had already been knocked back 500,000 kilometers, arriving in the territory of another one of the top 10 participants. A figure covered in wounds and disheveled hair charged out of a pile of rubble, looking very miserable. When this foot landed, the surrounding tall mountains all flew away. The ground cracked and countless peaks appeared. Whoosh! 10,000 Dragons Picture, Supreme Dragon Fist. The little light figure appeared before everyone in the secret realm's void and announced the end of the test. Great desolate divine eyes, bloodline activated. Endless life, endless battle. Gong Liangyu's body trembled slightly, and he turned into a 3-kilometer-long saber. Gong Liangyu looked up, stunned. Punch after punch, Gong Liangyu showed a bitter expression as he clenched his teeth and held on, continuously getting pushed back. Yin-yang burst. Rumble! Everyone said that Gong Liangyu was ruthless, cold, and emotionless. However, when this Xiao Chen showed his ruthlessness, it was even more chilling. My goodness! This truly lives up to being one of the 3 most ferocious fist techniques in the world. Even Gong Liangyu does not dare to challenge its sharpness. Xiao Chen revealed his true form and hovered in the air. The golden light in his eyes had already dimmed. The duration of his bloodline was about to end. 10,000 swords returning to the heart. The offensive aura coming from Xiao Chen was incredibly terrifying. It was like an ancient great desolate Aeon roaring at him. Every sword strike contained a drop of Gong Liangyu's heart blood. This terrifying killing move made the cultivators outside the light screen suck in a breath of cold air. Xiao Chen did not give up. He continued to wait. Now, this opportunity finally appeared before him. As Xiao Chen pointed with one hand, this vast Taiji Yin-Yang flame diagram descended on Gong Liangyu. At this moment, Xiao Qian's aura suppressed Gong Liangyu for the first time. After fighting with the black and white eggs for 4 years, Xiao Qian was no stranger to the Dao domain. I can still breathe. Why do you say that it's over? However, how could Xiao Qian give Gong Liangyu this opportunity? He immediately executed the Supreme Dragon Fist, the strongest martial technique of the dragon race. Xiao Qian grabbed ferociously with his right hand, and the Taiji Yin-Yang flame diagram exploded. The terrifying might of the flames radiated out, killing many of the participants who could not dodge in time. Xiao Qian's veritable essence energy surged, and his blood surged. As a vast dragon roar rang out, 10,000 dragons attacked when he punched. Die. However, at this moment, Xiao Qian activated his bloodline and unleashed his full power. For a short time, his cultivation was no weaker than a peak sovereign personage. Taiji Yin-Yang flame diagram. Upon seeing the terrifying secret technique that Gong Liangyu executed in the secret realm, the sovereign emperors in desolate cities' starry heavens immediately saw how extraordinary the 10,000 swords returning to the heart was.